The Area Cup Series field descends on a different racetrack each week, all searching for the apex at courses across the country. Tonight, the drivers in this series will be in the shadow of an apex, that of the Gateway Arch in the distance. We're in Madison, Illinois, just outside of St. Louis for the 5th round of the Area Cup Series season. Maybe some banking, maybe some flat, but definitely great racing for 140 laps. Hi everybody, Kyle Heyer, joined by Finney DeCuna and Hunter Sleppy for the 5th round of the season. Finney, and welcome back. This time we go racing just outside of St. Louis on this very unique egg-shaped oval.
Yeah, we're glad to be here at Gateway. We haven't seen a whole lot of stock car racing at Gateway, especially because in real life it just joined the schedule, and now we're starting to see a lot of stock car series schedules, and it's a fantastic track that should have been with NASCAR way long ago, but it's finally on the real life schedule, and we're here now to see some hopefully excellent racing tonight.
Yeah, back in season 2 we went here and Jake Nichols stole the show once again. He didn't dominate, but he held off as long as he could on older tires for around 90 laps or so. So tire wear is going to be a little bit of a concern. Well, it was going to be a bit of a concern. Now that we're under the lights, I don't know how much more or less of a concern that will be.
Yeah, certainly not. It's we're under the lights tonight, so we're racing on a relatively cool track on a cool evening here in just outside of St. Louis. Cars on track right now practicing in the different conditions here. One of the unique things about this racetrack, Finn, and I mentioned it earlier, the different ends of the racetrack. This is very much like Darlington, but kind of widened and flattened quite a bit. Turns 1 and 2, a little bit of banking, kind of multi-groove. 3 and 4, though, same story with the different grooves, but a much flatter corner radius, a much wider corner as well.
Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of guys use use how wide turns 3 and 4. They're going to be trying to build up runs to potentially make a move down in turns 1 and 2. As you see, riding on board the 22 Dominic DeLeo coming off that back stretch now on it and heading to turn 3.
Don't think we'll see any of the Ross Chastain wall ride moves that we saw from Martinsville a couple weeks ago. Although that would be cool to see now, but don't think we'll see any of that here at Gateway. But the corners are tight. Looking at banking of around just through 3 and 4, 9 degrees and 11 degrees here coming through turns 1 and 2. Don't know if we'll be seeing a lot of cars using that bottom line, even though there's the road course curving there to kind of guide the cars through. But gonna have to look at how wide these cars get coming out of turn 2 because of how that safer barrier sticks out. Kind of like what we've been seeing. We just saw there with, I believe that was Weishart, just got a little too high there. So corner exits are going to be a concern. I think someone's just doing the wall red.
Yeah, that is Alex Weaver all the way up there on the outside lane, practicing here early for the Chastain maneuver. Again, I'm not sure how successful that would be at this particular track, but you never know. With keys like that unlocked, you can never put the cat back in the bag when it comes to knowledge gained about how you make speed around here, Finney.
Yeah, especially because there's also a ton of videos of everyone trying to replicate Chastain's maneuver, and mostly successful at Martinsville. Again, it's kind of, you have to see how it is at different tracks, but I don't think we'll really see anyone making that kind of move again. We're not in the playoffs yet. I don't think anyone's going to do that big of a bonsai move, but you never quite know. You never quite know. You have to see how it is near the end of the race, but we were running in line at the moment, just in behind, trying to look who's ahead of him. That is
the 11.
Yes, Jordan Martin. And Dwayne Culberson making it to the inside of the 71, 3 wide there for just a second.
And we just saw something that I think we're going to have to talk about all night long, and that's getting tight up out of turn 2. It was the 12 car that took an impact. It was Shane Abbey over there at the exit of turn 2. And Hunter, this is going to be a challenge here, is committing to corner exit speed. It's going to require you to be really brave, but the car just steps out and hammers the wall there. And then a little bit farther down, if we go back just a little bit more here, I want to point out something important about this back straightaway wall. It kind of goes away for a little bit, Hunter, and that can open up for some bad opportunities here late in this race. You see a hole open just for a second. Look off in the distance here. You're going to see the wall basically go away and then come back into the racetrack area. So this could really be a problem if you try to get creative with using this little extra pavement. We've seen it be a problem before, and it could be a problem tonight.
Yeah, we saw that back in season 2, I believe, or it might have been season 1 with the ARCA cars here. I honestly can't remember which series it was, but Dom DeLeo had a face-first view into that opening wall back there. I don't know if that's actually been patched off, or if that's like an invisible barrier now.
Still wide open. You can still get yourself back there. Second place in the points coming into the night is James Scioli, race winner from a couple of rounds ago back at Iowa last week. We skipped a week had a week off for the first time this season, but he is chasing this guy, Jake Nichols, and that number 91. The other 2 races this season have been won by him, so he's certainly the one to watch, the points leader already. You can't let him get an advantage, Finian. We saw it last season. He could just run away with things.
Yeah, he definitely can, but both of those guys not on the top of the timesheet. That belongs to Brandon Six in the 66 car, and I'm sure he's looking for some luck this season. He started 3 races compared to everyone else running 4, but those 3 races, 2 of them not so good. 39th at Chicagoland, 29th at Sonoma. He had some good luck at Iowa last time out, and he finished 3rd. So he's got a quick car. He's got a quick car at Iowa. Has a quick car tonight. We'll see if he can finish it here, potentially try to get a win to turn this season around.
Yeah, that 66 has been pretty quick. Like you mentioned last week at Iowa, looking to pick up the pace as he currently has here at Iowa. We're at Gateway. He was fast in Iowa. It seems so similar because he's still at the top of the board. And speaking of the top of the board, here's David Wise starting in the 33. We saw him get into the wall just a little bit ago in turn 2. Not bad over here, 8th place for the number 33. But I wanted to look at 3rd place, Jake Nichols, as mentioned. 4 races this season, has 2 wins, and he's the defending winner here from a season ago at Gateway, and had a long green flag run, as mentioned. He went about 30 more laps than what we anticipated on a set of tires, and the late race caution came in, and it saved him, and surprisingly, he only led 23 laps in the race a season ago. James Scioli led the most last year at 60 laps, leading nearly half the race. But those 2 we're going to have to keep an eye out for. And there's the other winner of Season 3, back from Daytona, Travis Beckner, a 16th quickest so far.
Travis Beckner, his season started, of course, with that win that locked him into the playoffs back at Daytona, but had 2 top 10s following that. Chicago landed 8th and a 7th at Sonoma, Finian, but a 28th at Iowa was certainly not his round. Got caught up in some things, looking for a clean slate this time around, but the speed has just not been there so far in practice.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, he lost 3 places in the championship, dropped off from 2nd to 5th. Again, obviously, he's locked in with that win at Daytona, so his overall position doesn't matter, but definitely didn't help him out any. But really, at this point for him, just trying to get more and more wins. But currently, as Hunter mentioned earlier, he's 16th in the timesheet, so pretty much smack dab midfield. So he's gonna have to try to find a little something extra, maybe or hope for a little bit of luck later on to get himself further up the order.
Yeah, that Iowa race, that finish did not show the effort that he had. He had top 10 speed, arguably top 5 speed the entire race, but got caught up in a late race incident that did not benefit him at all. Here's Aaron Smith in the bright yellow Roasted Gems Coffee 72, 4th quickest on the board. Aaron's had, he's going mud in there to get, going through a bump.
I wanted to point out Aaron because he only run a couple races with us back at Chicagoland. He started 37th, finished 24th. Then at Sonoma, finished 5th after starting in 4th. And this track, just like some of the other flat racetracks, carries a lot in common. We'll slide there out of turn 4 with the road course races. You're downshifting in these cars. You're heavily braking in these cars at this particular track. So keep an eye on Aaron Smith tonight, Finian. He might be one to watch up in the top 5, just like Ryan Hartz. And just outside of it is Brad Slaughter Jr. in 6th.
Yeah, 88 ripping around the top lane. It's him cutting down low on the exit here. Currently sitting 6th place in the timesheet. So a little bit loose off of turn 4, and around he goes. Curious to see if that may be something we see more often tonight or not.
Well, oddly enough, before we joined the booth here, Brad was complaining about how much he hates the car and this setup at this particular track. And always ironic that those that hate the car the most are always the quickest. So I'm not sure what that has. I'm not sure if that's a trend that we're going to be seeing here later on in the season. But Brad, 6th quickest currently on the board.
Keep an eye on him. Dom DeLeo, 7th. Weishart, Rafe Slate, and Alan Ballacino, the rest of the top 10. Fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. For only $5 a month, you can watch all area broadcasts commercial free. You can use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat. You can earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise. Visit Area iRacing's Twitch at twitch.tv/Area iRacing. That's where you can watch these broadcasts in their entirety. Checkered flag here on practice and Finian time for qualifying. It's one of those places that I will circle qualifying as a very important session. Unlike the plate tracks, unlike where we're going next week at Atlanta with this new format, I think this track in particular, qualify up front, run up front. You get yourself caught up in some incidents if you start mid-pack or rear.
Yeah, no, passing is definitely going to be a bit tricky here, yeah, at this track. I mean, we've seen it a lot in IndyCar. I mean, obviously it's a different series, but running at the same track, they had a very hard time passing. Some are able to get it done in 3 and 4, but for these guys, I think it's going to be a similar story. Passing is not going to come at a premium, but it's going to be hard to do, and you're probably going to have to wait maybe until the guys start get spread out and the race starts to kind of find a groove. But I think you're definitely going to want to be starting in the front. You don't want to be near the back and have to work your way up the entire order. And like you mentioned, you definitely don't want to be involved in the wreck.
Yeah, we had a big one here back for a season ago coming out of turn 4, where essentially if you got a couple cars that smack the wall coming out of turn 4 and spin across the track, that essentially blocks it. We had a big one from a season ago kind of blocking the front stretch over here, so it wouldn't surprise me if we have that happen again, especially with the amount of drivers we have in the field. I think we got close to 40 drivers, if not a little more than that, but it's going to be an interesting race here tonight as Ed Robertson goes out and tries to put that 64 at the top of the chart.
Yeah, it looks like 40 drivers on the dot, at least for now. Ed Robertson be one of the first drivers to lay down a time here as we come out of turn 4 for the number 64. Get 2 laps, put your best time down, and like Poole's the first one to come across the line at a 33.861. Robertson goes second quick, and now the times will begin to populate on the board. Now the other curious thing is whether or not drivers will be faster on their second lap. My presumption, Finian, is yes, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'll have to see. I'm curious what we're going to see out of some of these guys. Aaron Smith, we were talking about him keeping an eye in 72. He's currently second, but just start to roll in. He's off for his second lap.
Oh, coming across the stripe, JT Poole in the 32. He was quickest, but Jake Nichols dethroned that. He will not be quickest because Jake Nichols is still out on the racetrack looking to complete his second lap.
Jake working his way through his second lap right now. Aaron Smith to the top of the board at a 33.664. That is an incredible lap. That is his second and final. See if Jake Nichols can improve, and he does, but by a 10th. Not enough to go to the top there, Finian. So Aaron Smith impresses on his qualifying run and for now retains provisional pole.
Yeah, I'm watching Brad Slott at the moment. He's about to complete his second lap. First lap, he uses a banker lap to get the tires run up, ran a high lane in turns 3 and 4, cut it down to get some momentum. Working through 3 and 4 right now. We'll see that pays off. He was pretty quick in practice. Can he execute in qualifying as he comes flying out of the corner, almost into the wall, across the line for the 88? And he will be up in only 9th.
Yeah, just looking at Aaron Smith here to the top of the chart, dethroning Jake Nichols. The poll question just dropped over in the Twitch chat. Will we see a new winner tonight? The previous winners of the season, as mentioned before, Travis Beckner, Jake Nichols, and James Scioli. You can bet with exclamation point bet and the word yes or no. Bet as little as 10 channel points up to 10,000 channel points. So if you select yes, you have 37 drivers who could have a shot at winning, and one of those might be Aaron Smith if that lap time holds. But if you bet no, then you're banking on Jake Nichols to go back-to-back, or James Scioli or Travis Beckner to add another win on the season.
Here is Rafe Slate working his way through his first of 2 flying laps. Dwayne Culberson, Ryan Hartz, Shane Abbey also on laps at the moment. 6 minutes and 20 seconds remain here in qualifying. Aaron Smith still on top. Here comes Rafe Slate, 34.192. That'll be good enough for 18th on his first lap here, Finian, but waiting for a second. Delonte Ballard up to 9th place on his second lap.
Yeah, solid qualifying effort for the 21. Yeah, it looks like that'll be it for the 21 camp. That'll be his final lap, so he's good to go. Ryan Hartz just came across the line. He started his first lap, is looking for a second lap. Travis Beckner out also on the track, currently on his out lap.
Beckner right in the top of 3, down into 4. Looks like he's going to take the green flag to start his qualifying lap here.
Love how these cars are sounding tonight. Something specific, the way they sound heading off into turn 3 and the camera angle, they just sound so awesome, so raw. Ryan Hartz jumps up to 9th, pushes Delonte Ballard down to 10th as we watch the Area 500 winner navigate down the backstretch into turn 3.
Yeah, you see him kind of going down low. He's going to pop up a little bit because, again, with this turn being relatively flat, going to come up the corner a little bit, going to cut down low. Don't want to clip the curbing on the inside that can break the car loose, and across the line for Beckner.
8.23 on his first lap. 8.25 corrects up to 3rd place here. Hunter, we'll see if he can go even faster.
A solid first lap from the 28, as mentioned. struggled in practice, was only 16th quickest, but that qualifying setup that he's got going on, pretty quick, pretty dialed in. We'll see how he gets through 3 and 4.
Down into fourth gear, right, kind of riding the curb there on the bottom. And kind of nips that curb. I wonder if late in the run we'll be down to third gear maybe in turn number 1. Depends on how the gearing is set up. Here comes Beckner across the line. Is it faster? A 33.864. It is slightly slower. He will stay P3. We wait now for others to come across the line. Jacob Bell, Matt Bell, Dom DeLeo, and Brandon 6 up to third, Finian.
Yeah, it's all qualifying effort for him. I was watching him to see where he would end up. Again, he's been looking quick tonight and showing it in qualifying up to third provisionally. We'll see if anyone else can beat that. A few guys left to qualify. Jacob Bell, Dominic DeLeo, Matthew Bell, James Scioli is another big one we want to keep an eye on, the number 7.
Who let Eric Jones in the lobby?
I know, I was going to say, I think he forgot to switch his livery back. So, we'll quote 22nd quick. Here comes Dom DeLeo out at turn number 4. This will be his first qualifying lap. And it is a 34 flat, which will put him roughly in the mid-20. Oh, nope, 19th place on lap 1. James Scioli on the backstretch now on his first lap. This is a car to watch, I think, Finian, for sure. Race winner already this season, second in the points. He's got something cooking up his sleeve here.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be trying to, his main competitor, I would say, this season is Jake Nichols in the 91. And I mean, he's got some other hot competitors, Aaron Smith, Brandon 6, Alan Valentino, Beckner in the top 5. Will he join them after lap number 138.7? He will join up to 8th. Oh, and he's going to break loose in turn 1. Not sure that was planned, or if he's only planning one lap and just kind of decided to do a little bit of drift, or if that was a mistake.
Knocked it down, and we'll call it quits. Konoshiwo on track in the number 84, but his laps are already complete. The last couple drivers, Douglas Newbegin, Bryce Senesac, and Chris Seidenfeiden, have not made qualifying efforts at this time. Might start towards the tail. Maybe there's a strategy component to this, Finian, but I don't know if I love this strategy. I'd rather give myself a shot than not.
I will say the strategy for Douglas Newbegin is him trying to get back in the server because he lost connection as qualifying started. So I was curious to see if he would actually jump back. He has reconnected. I think he's in. Yes, he actually is just finally rolling out on the track. So we'll have just enough time to get a qualifying effort in.
It would help a little bit if you're in the session. That would make it a little more smoother. But I wanted to look at Alan Valentino, 4th quickest on the board. He was one of the drivers from a season ago who did not qualify, only had 28 cars in the field for that race. So he started 24th and moved all the way up to 6th, was the biggest mover of the race. So he's going to be a driver to watch out for tonight. He's going to have a better starting spot by a long shot than he did a season ago.
Bryce Senesac down to mid-90s, still in 4th gear. Again, I think we'll see drivers drop into 3rd late in the runs here when the tire wear requires it. But again, these stiff next-gen cars, if not only the bodies but the suspension, they can sustain really high corner speeds here. Senesac throttling back up here out of turn 4. We'll get one more lap, one more try here. Newbegin is on track, attempting to qualify. Seidenfeiden still sitting trackside. Looks like he's already started his second lap, maybe spun, so he will not get an opportunity to actually improve. So that's probably why he's not going anywhere. Senesac up to a 34.1 and going for a second lap here. We'll see if Newbegin can go quicker on his second finish.
Yeah, I think he made a mistake. He actually restarted back from the pit, so I'm not sure if he bailed out on the last lap or if he gave up on it. So he's going to come back around again. He's got one more attempt, otherwise he's going to be starting way down the order in the back of the field.
9.646. All he's got there. So, actually, you're right. This is starting second lap. Seidenfeiden still not going. Where did Newbegin go? He has not yet laid down a time. That first lap didn't count.
Must have gone in the wall. Or no?
No, he reset. He reset from the pits. I think he bailed out on his first lap. So here he comes flying around. Now will be the last drivers to put a qualifying in. Comes close to the wall in turn 4. Across the line. Final qualifier. Newbegin is going to be putting that car.
Good time. Could put him top 10.
Wow.
9th. Good save. All right, with that, qualifying is complete. We'll roll through your starting lineup here in just a couple of minutes once we get our Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup finalized. We got to wait a couple of minutes, though, to get everything up and sorted. But this is our 5th round of the Area Cup Series season here for Worldwide Technology Raceway at a track formerly known as Gateway here in Madison, Illinois. Kyle Heyer, Finney DeCuna, and Hunter Sleppy bringing you the action. 140 laps tonight. Not a particularly short race, Finney. And how do we expect tire wear to play into this? These next-gen cars have certainly been unique. Some tracks, they fall off a ton, some not so much. What is your expectation tonight?
Well, yeah, definitely, and you've seen in the past, and I think the tire is going to be big. You always see it at these more flatter tracks. It's because you need to use up a lot more tire to get these big, heavy cars to rotate, and you're going to be leaning on them quite a bit. So I think tire wear is going to be pretty big for these guys, and we could see that being, the deciding factor for coming down pit lane over the wheel. That last week at Iowa, a lot of guys deciding to come down for tires at certain points, and that made a big change in the order depending on where the cautions came. That's another big thing too, Hunter. What are we thinking about cautions? Do we expect a lot of cautions, or do you expect a green race?
Well, looking at the stats from a year ago, we had 6 leaders and 9 lead changes, and we had 8 yellows for 32 laps. So I would say we'd get about a handful of cautions in the night. Could be kind of like where the race goes green for the most part, then a little halfway through get a caution. Then towards the end becomes cautions, breeding cautions, that sort of deal. But I would definitely expect a handful of yellows tonight, just not early on.
Time to head down to the racetrack and get our Roasted Gems coffee starting grid rolling here. Fans, be sure to visit Roasted Gems Coffee for some of the finest coffee from all over the world. You can use discount code AREA iRacing, 10% off your order at roastedgems.com. Time to roll through the starting lineup here. The Roasted Gems Coffee grid order. Aaron Smith on the pole on the number 72, an easy-to-spot bright yellow Camaro. Jake Nichols, championship points leader, rolls off on the outside of row number 1, Finian.
Back in row number 2, Brandon 6 in the 66, Alan Bellacino starting next to him in the 70. Both very strong cars. Definitely going to keep an eye on them.
Row 3 is Travis Beckner in the number 28. Area 500 winner rolls off alongside the number 22 Ford, Nam DeLeo.
Back in behind them, JT Poole going to be lined up the inside, and 32 car, Greg Mitchell next to him in the 2 and 8th place.
9th place, row 5, Douglas Dubiging, a late qualifying effort in that number 71 Camaro. Starts alongside the current championship runner-up, James Scioli.
Back in row number 6 and 11th, Matthew Bell in the number 9 car, next to him Tyler Nichols in the 41 and 12th.
Starting in 13th place is Seth Noel in the number 1. David Weishart starts in 14th in the number 33.
15, Cosmin Yonishiwo going to be lining up in the inside. Next to Ryan Hart's in 16th in the 3 car.
17th place is Delonte Ballard in the number 21. Jordan Martin rolls off 18th in the number 11 machine.
That's Slaughter Jr. is going to be lined up in the 19th. He going to be lined up in the 95 and 20th.
Starting 21st is Dwayne Culberson in the number 81. Rafe Slate starts 22nd in the number 8.
Bryce Senizek in the 09 and 23rd. Michael Sturgill going to be in 17th and 24th.
25th place is Ricky Springer in the number 18. Tom Bourne starts 26th in the number 16.
In 27, the 19, Ryan Swan. 28th, it's going to be 37 of Jeff Ryan.
29th place, Bronson Stafford, the number 61. Kyle Sieg starts 30th, the number 39. The rest of the order scrolling along the bottom of your screen as we hit turns 3 and 4. 140 laps tonight. This race will take us about an hour and 20 minutes from flag to flag. If we go green all the way, we'll see if that can be the case here after 140 hard racing laps. 5th round of the season for the Area Cup Series. You're on Sim TV. Kyle Heyer, Finney DeCuna, and Hunter Sleppy beside you as we get ready to go racing just outside of St. Louis. Green flag is in the hands of the starter. 140 laps underway. Green flag flies and we're racing at Gateway. Nick Nichols takes the lead away into turn 3. The pole sitter drops to 4th on the opening lap, falling like a stone through 3 and 4. Malachino and Brandon 6. The rest of the top 3 here fitting as they cross lap 1.
And again, we're talking about getting the start is really important. Last thing you want to do is down the order. Again, it's really hard to try to find your footing. But listen, they kind of settled out at least in the top few spots for now. Almost 3 wide there, just a few positions back, just fighting inside for the top 10.
Did say to keep an eye on Balancino, already up to 2nd after the initial start as we continue to look at this battle here. Mitchell on the outside, Newbigging on the inside. Door to door for the 8th spot. Going to be seeing a lot of cars rolling high, something we didn't see a season ago. And a little further back, you got, I believe that's Ricky Hardin in the 15.
the 16 at Tom Bourne that went high in 3 and 4, but he kept it straight. Up front, though, Ballicino chases Jake Nichols, who's off to a very strong start there. Brandon Six drops into 3rd. Aaron Smith, though, did not get rolling very well on the initial start here, Finney. He drops into 4th, but his dropping has stopped. Now Scioli has a look at Mitchell and is under fire from Tyler Nichols in the number 41.
Yeah, it was amazing actually just seeing these guys go through turns 1 and 2, the entire top 7 running the exact same line as one another, and while everyone pretty much running similar lines in 3 and 4, all glued to that bottom lane again. Once the tires start wearing out, we'll see if they start searching all around for a little bit more gripping, but for the most part, fairly single file up and toss there. I see Ray Slate coming out, dive it, throw it up the inside.
Slate looking to the inside again and around the 95 there, as there's some more side-by-side action right behind him going on.
Yeah, that is Ricky Springer's in that yellow 18. Just ahead of it's Michael Sturgill, and then there's Brad Slaughter in that red, black, and white number 88 David Weishart Racing car. And Douglas Newbegin moving forward. He had a strong qualifying effort and continues to bring an early charge up towards the front, up to 7th place. Now working on 6th place here, picking it up to Dom DeLeo just ahead.
Yeah, just to think that he get a chance to put a qualifier in, so definitely at 71 showing he's got some pretty strong pace early on. Gets to complete pass on JT Poole. Actually not quite. He's struggling for grip off of turn 2. 32 coming back on him.
Well, Beckner got around Aaron Smith for the 4th spot, and now we see Brandon Six looking low on the 70 of Ballicino. Both cars with purple in it, both cars wanting to get that 2nd spot. Beckner going to close in on this battle here. So 70 edges out the 66 and into 1.
Good battle into turn 1. Six dives in here. You're going to run up the racetrack a little bit. Very hard to maintain that inside line all the way around. You kind of chuck it in, let the car slide up, and then turn down on exit. That is a tense moment for everybody involved side by side. The 6 drops into 2nd place behind them. Scioli still trying to move forward underneath Douglas Newbegin, who lost the spot back to JT Poole, trying to take that spot away, but the hunter became the hunted, and the 32 got back by.
Yeah, Scioli's struggling to find some pace early on to work his way on by. I think maybe he could be trying to do what we saw Nichols do last race and just try to be a little bit more patient and got to wait for the tires to wear out and then make his attack later in the run.
Well, one thing about Jake Nichols, he knows how to preserve the tires, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's just saving his stuff early here on lap 7. But he's got the 66 all over his bumper. We might see
trouble back straightaway. 09, Bryce
Bryce
Senesac turned around at 13, also hard on the wall. Andrew Player clobbered it.
He hit that opening that you were talking about. It looked like he bounced off that opening there on the backstretch. We'll have to take a look at our SimRap Market replay, as there's Bronson Stafford involved as well.
He's got big time right front damage. That car is destroyed. Senesac's not looking good either. Well, let's have a look here on the SimRap Market replay and see if we can discover what happened. The 09 was the first to go around.
Yeah, you can see right there, there's a little bit of contact with the 16. That was enough to throw that car into the wall hard, and then was trying to peel off of it, came flying into another car. Couldn't quite see who he hit. Went spinning around.
He hit Jacob Bell in the 77. He got a little piece of that too.
Here's a look. Andrew Player was the one that took that hard outside lick. And here the field checks up. Player goes to the right, gets hit from the 45, and then he locks the brakes up and pounds that outside wall.
Yeah, we saw that happen a couple times last week at Iowa. Drivers trying to check up, and they slow down too quick, and it spins their car around. And that's what we saw there. Nothing he could have done, or Seinfeld could have done to avoid hitting him.
On board with the 45.
Coming up behind here, couldn't see anything, and then at first sight and find, he was probably shocked, and then you can see a player there go flying low. Whoa, car behind just narrowly avoided incident.
26 of Jonathan Cogswell.
Wasn't Cogswell the one that avoided every incident last week at Iowa?
Yep. Watch this.
Who avoided that?
Oh. Whew. Getting really good at dodging cars. So, in terms of pit lane, some takers here towards the back, but the vast majority will skip this. Really early in the race, I don't think there's any advantage. With limited tire sets, I wouldn't think of this as an opportunity to come down pit lane for tires.
No, definitely not. I think you want to save your stuff, especially because we expect tires to matter quite a bit. You want to save all those sets as much as possible, and yeah, after running only about 7 laps under green flag, not going to be a big deal. A lot of the guys in the back that came in, I think, were trying to fix some damage.
Excuse me. As there's our early caution. No, go on.
I was going to say Jake Nichols is off to a good start, but Brandon Six was heating him up there for that lead. Maybe some tire preservation involved with Jake Nichols. We saw that at Iowa, though, but I think he saved too much at Iowa. He was not good enough in the short run to maintain his advantage. Fell back pretty quickly. Yes, he would move forward late in the run, but it just wasn't enough, Finian. So how do you reconcile running fast early versus maintaining pace over a long run?
I mean, you just kind of have to just push more. I think when you're trying to save your tires, you kind of get into your own little pace, your own little rhythm throughout the race. You kind of preserve and make sure you don't push too hard. But the problem is when it comes time for the short runs where you need to push, it may be harder. So I think you might just have to start pushing a little bit harder from the get-go. And I think we've been seeing that he's been maintaining that lead ever since he took it in the early laps. So we'll see if he can maintain it over the long run, though, because obviously you haven't had a long run quite yet.
Yeah, long run's going to be interesting, but for the short run, it really doesn't matter if you're running in the lead or not, because everyone's all bumper to bumper regardless.
Well, bumper to bumper regardless, that's going to happen all night long, I think. Given there's not a lot of room to spread out on this racetrack, we have 40 cars, although 3 of them still on pit lane with significant damage. Player and Senesac, their nights are likely done, at least competitively. Bronson Stafford also has some significant damage as we get back to the restart zone here. Jake Nichols in command, Brandon Six, Alan Balacino, and the rest of the field lined up for the restart. Green flag back in the air. Very slow restart, and they fire off towards turn 1.
One that didn't look slow was Jake Nichols.
Yeah, Jake shot out of a cannon there on the restart. Travis Beckner's taking advantage of it, and look at this. Yeah, Aaron Smith going backwards again. Not good on the restart.
I was going to say, I wanted to see how he would improve on this second restart. Was doing the opposite. He already immediately just lost 2 positions. He's got Weishart now trying to take advantage. When you look a little bit further back, right slate, Jordan Martin in the middle of a tight battle in the midfield.
Look at the cars coming down the front stretch. Still a good bit of side-by-side action all throughout the pack. And there's that listed as 43, but just in front of the road, that is the 2 of Greg Mitchell, the 3 of Ryan Hartz battling on the racetrack for the 12th position.
Really,
ooh, that got a little close there.
Yeah, it's really dense back here with cars. That makes me nervous on these restarts, especially in a track where you're downshifting. That adds a layer of unpredictability. Here's the 95 of Brandon Key to the underside of Springer. Kind of ran out of racetrack, hit the curb, and then slid up the track a little bit in turn 3, but carry on and continue now that there's double back up versus triple file there.
Yeah, you really want to avoid those curves, those things being bad business. And as you look at Aaron Smith, he's continuing to fall down the order, just about to fall outside of the top 10. I'm really not sure what's going on with that car. It almost seems like he's got damage or something's not going right, because he's still dropping to the field quickly.
He might be set for the long run here, but the short run is not helping him at all. He's dropping outside the top 10 now, trying to battle with Newbigging or actually JT Poole to hold on to the spot. Ryan Hart's in hot pursuit as well. But that 70 car not looking good, or 72, excuse me, not looking good on the short run.
And again, just like we saw last week with Jake Nichols, I'm sure you can find some pace on the long run, but if you lose so many positions in the short run, it's not like they're easy to get back. It's still a struggle. So you don't want to give up too much in the name of saving tires for a run that you might not get. So there's definitely some balance act there to do. But Brandon Six, I'll tell you what, he and Beckner seem to get better and better every lap that we go. And Nichols has been pretty consistent on pace. He's definitely got pressure from behind.
I was going to say, definitely want to keep an eye on Beckner. Beckner's been showing some muscle, started in 5th up 2 spots to 3rd. Well, looking at Scioli now in a tight battle with DeLeo. They're battling it out for 5th place in turns 1 and 2, and here comes Weishart now up the inside.
Yeah, slowly starting to see some separation around the top 4 that have checked out, and now this little group here, 5th, 6th, and 7th, battle for 6th currently. Leo on the outside and Weishart on the inside with the 1 of Seth Noel. Haven't talked about him too much this season. Running into 8th spot, solid showing so far.
Yeah, he came up a couple of times in previous races, but he really has been impressive this season and already having a look at moving forward even more. Up 5 spots here in the first 16 laps. Natural position gains also. No pit stops yet to speak of. So moving forward and has 2 guys on his horizon here into turn 3 as drivers ahead battle for the lead. Seth Noel leans on DeLeo and Weishart here for 7th and maybe 6th.
Yeah, Weishart looks like he's going to get that spot ahead of DeLeo now. Ooh, as DeLeo actually clipped the curb a little bit. Noel trying to get the run before couldn't quite get there, and being still in the battle. In ninth, just in behind Noel.
Slowly starting to settle in throughout this spot as Noel is looking to go on the outside more. That's going to allow Newbingen to close in and now get underneath the one. Could have a potential swap here. Nope, going to get tucked back in line heading into turn 3.
And Finney, you mentioned something a couple laps ago that I wanted to talk more about. The curbs here, these rumble strips on the inside. At some road courses, you'll use rumble strips and curbs to help your car turn. Here, they cause so much grip loss that they are definitely not something that you want to use, especially in turns 1 and 2. 3 and 4, you can get away with it. Maybe if your car is really understeering, you might be able to use that to your advantage, but it just is not something that most drivers are going to want to clip in these cars. And more often than not, it'll lead to a crash rather than prevent one.
Yeah, and actually, it's ironic that you're putting it back on camera on Brad Slaughter as he's in battle. Shane Abbey just hit the wall coming off of turn 2, and a little bit of a bump from behind from Brandon Key. Brad Slaughter actually clipped the curb a lap or 2 ago, and he ended up losing 5 spots. That's why he drifted back all the way to 24th. Still trying to fight with Abbey, though, trying to rock around that outside lane.
Yeah, Abbey nearly lost it there coming out.
Whoa,
of
big
2.
slide behind. It's the 45 of Seidenfeiden. He's going to spin on the
some
front straightaway, but he corrects it and bounces off the fence.
Wow.
Take a look at the replay here and kind of just drifts up the track over there at turn 4, clips the wall, tries to avoid hitting it, hits it anyway, but it did not bring out a yellow. We're still green flag racing here from Gateway.
Man, that was about as close to crashing as you can. I mean, he did crash. He just didn't crash hard enough to bring out the yellow.
The officials were sleeping when that happened, so no caution.
AT Pool, taking a look at Ryan Hart's here. This is for 10th.
People trying to get it, can't quite get there. Ryan Hart, so it's kind of surprised. He started pretty far down the order than what I would expect from him. Started in 16th, is up into 10th. Now he's gained 6 spots, so he's been slowly clawing that 3 car back up the pack to the 2. And the 30 of JT Poole and Greg Mitchell duking it out. Mitchell on the inside there, trying to muscle his way past. Hard to do in coming out of turn 4 is they get the run on the outside. Hard to beat.
Oh, Newbingen had a bad corner there. They're going to be 3 wide heading in the corner. Going to be a little tight. There's the 9 of Matthew Bell in the Eric Jones Halloween costume there. We were off last week for Halloween, so I don't know if that's why he's in the 43 or not. But nonetheless, he takes over the position. See what happened to Newbingen here. I guess he just hits the curb and it just loses the car. We've seen it with IndyCar here in the past, and even in NASCAR, you could still lose the car if you just flip the curb.
Yeah, he's going to drop like a stone and get into the side of the 2 there at the exit of turn 4. Bounce off each other once. Here comes Rafe Slate with a big run. Going to take them 3 wide for a moment. They single back out as Greg Mitchell bails, and the 72 car continues his fall down to 15th place. This is a catastrophic start for that 72 car.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this is beyond the act of trying to save tires or anything, because, you can't just lose that much position. It's Beckner and 6 side-by-side for 2nd place. Beckner trying to move his way up the order, side-by-side with Brandon 6 to see what he can do, trying to get around, run on that outside off of 4.
Well, Nichols is probably encouraging that battle to continue, and it might heading into turn 1. On board the 70 of Balanchino, just kind of watching this unfold right in front of him. Doesn't want to get involved just yet, wants to let the 28 and 66 play it out, but Balanchino sitting comfortable in 4th with Scioli and hot pursuit from behind.
Nate Nichols is the only Toyota in the top 15 right now, representing the Toyota brand. Everybody else is a bow tie or a blue oval, the top 15.
Yeah, there's not lack of representation, too. There are a lot of Camrys, but like you said, they're just not doing particularly well in this race.
Well, it's starting to get settled in now. The 33 of Weishart closing in on this top 5 in the 6th position. Looking a little further back, here's Cosman Yonashiwa looking underneath the 41 of Tyler Nichols. This is for the 16th position. So Yonashiwa going to come up and clear the 41, and there's Jordan Martin in the back, getting a little sideways coming out of the corner.
Martin hasn't really gone anywhere, and the only driver that has in this group is Ricky Springer, up 7 spots from where he started back in 25th. This 18 car has been fast this season. I don't really think his results have been realized, but he's had pace at moments, just hasn't capitalized on when he's had it.
And trying to look on the inside of Tyler Nichols there, couldn't quite get there in time as Nichols drifts up the track. And this is the tough thing, is that you can see that the opportunity open. Ooh, he tries to get it down there, but it's really loose coming off the 2 if you gas it up in the wrong place. And we see, whoa, speaking of loose, we saw a car in the background.
And the 16, Tom Bourne, I think he gathered it up, but
that happened so fast, it looked like he spun coming out of that corner.
here's a look at it.
Yep, that's what I was talking about.
And the 77, I think, was in the wall while that was happening. Here's a look at what happened off into turn 1 with the 5 of Garrett Grant behind him. Somebody hit the fence, I thought. Up the racetrack and, yep, bounces off the fence.
Just overcooks it.
Douglas Newbeging under fire from Aaron Smith. Smith is going to gain a spot back. He's running, he's not running really that much better lap times, but I think Newbeging is a little slower. Greg Mitchell's going to come underneath him now and grab a spot. Now this is the stage when the comers and goers kind of start to intermingle here. The comers from the back are coming and the goers from the front are going.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see if Aaron Smith did try to really just save his stuff. I mean, again, I can't imagine he's going to move that much further up the order. It's not like he's going to reclaim back, but see how far he can climb once he's starting to find a little bit of a groove, moving all over the back of Mitchell now, trying to find a way into turn 3. And you see 84, go to Sheewood, trying to look inside. The opportunity's kind of there, almost going to get into the quarter panel.
Trying to force it there as he's now under the 71 and completes the pass here on the front stretch. Tyler Nichols lurking in the back, might have a shot here. Nope, he's going to back off a lot heading into turn 1. Boy, we've seen this a couple of times now, just from these onboard shots of how much some of these drivers have to back off heading into turn 1.
Yeah, the speed differential's enormous. You're going from 160 plus down to almost under 90 miles an hour. So you're downshifting there, you're slamming on the brakes. And I think what we saw with Tyler there is trying to dare the 71 to overdrive the corner and make a mistake. And if you can get the driver in front of you to make that mistake and drift up a little bit further on the racetrack, you could throttle up and beat him on exit. It's something we've been following so far tonight, but a pretty extreme example there.
Yeah, it's basically a very fast game of chicken into some of these corners, trying to scare the other driver to make a mistake, and a lot of times it does end up working as you ride on board with the 21.
Delonte Ballard running in the 20th spot, was all over Ricky Springer there for 19th for the moment. We'll see how he enters turn 3 and 4 in this section of the racetrack. Sends it in a little further than those up the road. But it's just interesting seeing how some of these drivers have different braking points just from looking at the onboard. Like some brake way before others heading into the corners.
Watch this, 165 miles an hour, down a couple of gears, down to 4th, and then watch the min speed here, down to 3rd gear, 87 miles an hour min corner speed there, and that was a little too slow because now the 41's got to run, but that is 165 down to 87. You're halving your speed. That is definitely road course braking, road course downshifting, and something that I thought would play into the hands of the 72 a little bit better, but certainly not working out for Aaron Smith nor the 71 at Newbeging.
Yeah, Newbeging started to struggle. He actually just hit the wall off of turn 4 last time by. So he's now starting to struggle a little bit. You can see there went Tyler Nichols, now Jordan Martin, and back up further ahead, Alabantino. James Scioli now trying to make some moves, trying to throw it up the inside, couldn't quite get there.
Oh, excuse me. They're kind of breaking away from the rest of the field once more as Scioli all over the bumper at Balancino, close to giving it a tap. About to have a 3-car battle for the 3rd position as these two are closing in on Travis Beck.
And Jake Nichols is beginning to check out 0.8 of a second, 0.9 of a second now. The biggest lead that we've seen, but how will that last over the course of this run? I think at 32 laps, we're probably about halfway through what I'd expect is the fuel run. If you could just split this race right in half, you pit at lap number 70 if you could. We might not see that be a possibility, but see when people decide to come to pit lane. No real takers from the previous trip down pit lane. Only retirement so far officially is Bryce Senesac, although Bronson Stafford is 23 laps down in 39th.
Yeah, and still getting repairs to that car for 15 minutes now. So I don't think he's going to be quite getting back on the track. Look at Shane Abbey all the way on the top lane. Haven't we seen anyone way too up high? Obviously the speed definitely seems to be down low, close to the curbs. And off.
Whoa!
Oh, there they go. The 5 spins.
Brandon Key and Garrett Grant making contact. I would say Brandon Key was all the way down low on the backstretch coming out of turn 2 that time by, and it kind of just snowballed into this effect up here. So you take a look at our SimRap market replay at 88. Slaughter's just going to carry it up the track, get into the wall, But that's not even what happened in front of us. What happened behind with Garrett Grant and Brandon Keith.
I think Garrett just gets loose here. Just chases it up the hill, bounces off the 95, and that was game over. Didn't have anybody else around him. There wasn't any contact. Right here just gets loose and
yep. 95 helped finish him off, yeah.
Could that have been a reaction to the 88 getting into the wall?
Yeah, I mean, these cars are touchy over there at the exit of 4, so I wouldn't be surprised. I also wouldn't be surprised to see this be our first pit stop opportunity here at lap number 34. Maybe a little too soon, but no, they're going to come on down.
I don't think it's too soon. I think you're going to want tires. You guys have been out here running for 30 laps. 7 laps, you can argue, you don't really need tires. It would be nice to have, but after 30 laps, I think that's definitely safe to, say, yeah, I'm going to use a 1-on-4 tires. So everyone coming on down have to take the access road.
That is the only way to get on the pit road here.
That is true, actually. I forget. I'm so used to there usually being a way off turn 4. This is one of those few tracks where you do actually have to take the access road.
Busy place down there on pit lane. Everybody's coming on down. And now we'll see if the pit stops will shake up the running order. Jake Nichols comes in as the leader. He also has the second place pit stall. The 72 car has the first pit stall, but is too far back, I think, to gain a whole lot of spots, but he might gain a couple on this exchange.
Let's say, do we see any take 2? Maybe the 72 takes 2 that just help the track position out.
4 tire stops for most.
Yeah.
Not all.
Yeah, I feel like a little too early to risk some. I feel like it's more of a late rate move. I feel like you might lose a little bit too much by doing that early on here with still over 100 laps to go off pit lane first, Jake Nichols.
And I don't think that you can, there's not enough pit stops to try experimenting. If this was a full distance race, sure, take 2 tires now, see if they work, and then take them later if they do, and don't if they don't. But with only, 2 or maybe 3 pit stops in this race, you don't really have the opportunity. You're going to save a Hail Mary like that for later. But with that, your running order restacked is on the left-hand side of your screen. We're going to take this opportunity to thank Simrat Market. Fans, be sure to check out simratmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and help you stay more focused on the racetrack. simratmarket.com. A couple opportunities to look at our Simrat Market replay tonight. A couple of incidents on track, but only one major one. Senesac, Stafford, and Andrew Player. Biggest contact, and there is the look at the number 13, which, considering the impact that car took, it's amazing it's still rolling.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely seen some better days. You can tell it's taken quite a bit of a beating, but like you said, considering the beating it did take, it is amazing that it is still rolling out there on the track. Also want to kind of give an update on the guy coming off of pit lane. So just some minor changes up near the top of the field. James Scaglione was able to gain 2 spots over Ballacino and Beckner. Ballacino and Beckner dropped back to 5th and 6th. For the 70, I'm not sure why. I think he may have just been slow out of the box. Beckner didn't actually make a mistake. He overran his stall just a little bit and had a reverse for a quick second to get back in. Weishart benefited from that. He moved himself from 6th up into 4th, so some minor changes up there amongst the top 6. But all 6 of those cars really, they were in the last run, they were the ones to really kind of break away from the rest of the field. So they're all really running strong, and I definitely think winner was most likely going to come from that group unless some major shenanigans occur later in the race.
Also wanted to look at the 33 of Weishart. He moved up to 6th before the caution came out and gained 2 spots coming out of pit road also. So look for the 33 to pick up the pace a little bit here on this next restart.
At the 1 to green, lights shut off atop the safety car, and that means next time by we're going back racing. In lap number 37 of 140, so approaching 100 to go. Still feels like this race is pretty fresh, so I think we've learned that Jake Nichols is good. What else is new? But I also think that Brandon Six, given a right restart, could really be a threat. Seems like the initial launch, he's got some pace. If he could just get out ahead of the 91, he might have an opportunity to overtake. Also, let's get that choose cone rule in the sim here, Finney. I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't gotten that yet. That would really be interesting to kind of implement and have these guys choose their own destiny in a way. Because we have seen that in real life. It has been really crazy. You're going to see guys taking advantage of it to get themselves more lanes on the inside or the outside, trying to gain track position versus the top lane. And that's just such a dynamic strategy aspect to it. So hopefully one day.
Well, field rolls through turns 3 and 4. Jake Nichols, out of the 36 laps that we have completed, he has led all 36. We'll see if he can keep that stat going. We come back to the restart zone here. Jake Nichols in command for Solar Flare Racing. Green flag back in the air and a horrible restart from the outside lane. Brendan 6 does not get going, and Jake Nichols is gone. Everybody else stacks up as they enter turn 1, side by side.
Yeah, Brandon 6 trying to run around the outside here. Skyly trying to make some moves on the inside. It's going to be tough to do off in turn 2. Can't quite get up to speed. He's going to slam the door shut, though, on Weishart.
Oh, car in the wall in the way background, but they keep it straight. Just a light scrape there as Balancino dives underneath the 32. JT Poole trying to make a run.
Work around the outside, side by side between both of them. As JT Poole's kind of make himself present in this battle. We're talking about the top 6, starting to make himself now in the top 6 and in the conversation.
It's going to get tight back here. Oh, almost 3 wide heading in. That was
Ricky
Springer in 18. Oh, there goes
Culberson.
81 of Culberson. He's going to keep it up high and out of the way. That looks squirrely from the beginning of it. Take a look at a quick replay. There he is on the outside. And just a stack up and gets hit by the 26 there. And that's what set that whole thing off.
Back forward and for the lead. Here comes Brandon 6 to the inside. Can he clear the 91 into turn 1? He does. Here comes Scioli.
Wow, kind of amazing. I'm trying to wonder how he got such a good run off the corner to manage to set that up. But fantastic job by Brandon 6. Not done yet. Nichols trying to get a run off the court, back up to the 66.
I think Nichols is playing a little bit of mind games here. Yeah, I'll let you have the lead, but I know the longer the run goes, the faster I'll be.
Yeah, again, the initial launch was not good by the 66, but he spooled it up the next time around. Managed to get some overlap and make that pass complete down into turn 1. We haven't seen multiple grooves really pay off yet like we have in the past. This track, with the previous generation car, you could run all over this place, but right now, it seems like the bottom is the proper line around most of this place as we watch Don Balillo under fire from Ryan Hartz.
Hartz still trying to move himself up the order. Last time we saw him, he actually was running in 10th, so here he is trying to move up one more spot. In the 9th, Ray Slate, Seth Noel duking out for 11th just in behind. Ray Slate's going to win that battle out narrowly as he almost clips some of the curb in 3 and 4.
Yoneshiwu and Aaron Smith, boy, you could just see how much Yoneshiwu sends it into the corner. 72 with Smith trying to fend him off for the 13th position, and a little further back, Greg Mitchell, Ricky Springer also door-to-door for the 15th spot.
Good battles all around here. It's been a racy event tonight, especially on these restarts. Drivers taking every opportunity to move themselves forward. Greg Mitchell following this battle between the 84 and the 72, and the bleeding just will not stop for Aaron Smith. He continues to drop down the order, and every restart is not helping him.
Yeah, no, this has been really surprising. I thought this time it might have been a little bit better because it's the first time he restarted on the outside lane, but it didn't seem to make too much of a difference. He didn't really lose any spots in this restart. I think he restarted in 12th. He actually didn't lose 2, actually, now they say that. He dropped back to 14th, so it hasn't been as bad as the first 2, but still it's not been particularly good for the 72 on his restart. I think we've got to really just have to hope there's not many more cautions left in this race.
Long way to go in this one, Hunter, as we approach the lap 50 mark. Lap 70 will be our halfway, but battles continue. Travis Peckner holding off JT Poole. He's had a pretty strong night.
Poole's been inside the top 10, it feels like, the majority of the night. Has some speed under there. Not sure if he has what it takes to get further up in the field and really set himself as a possible contender to win tonight, but nonetheless, still speed out of that number 32 as he looks to get around Beckner. He's got Balancino all over his bumper.
Good runs through 3 and 4. Gets on the curb there just a little bit, but carries good speed while doing so. He was really good in 1 and 2 in comparison to Beckner as we ride on board. Watch the run through the middle of 1 and 2 if he can do it again here. Beckner slides up. He's tight. JT's going to turn down here and can't throttle up because the 28's in the way.
Yeah, this is the tough thing, the frustrating thing being the driver. You can feel like you can get that run, but you got nowhere to really go because everyone's running and fighting in that same lane of traffic, and you really can't go anywhere else because you're in the fastest lane.
And he can't really back up anymore either to send it down low because he's got Balancino all over his bumper. Like maybe if that was the 9 of Bell trying to do that, he's got no one behind him. He could back off and let it roll, try to get a run underneath.
Wrap single file for now, working lap 46 of 140. Bronson Stafford and Bryce Senesek, again, the only drivers not on the racetrack. 38 remain. 37 are on the lead lap at the moment. Last is Dwayne Culberson, who we documented had an issue on the restart. Up front, though, Brandon Sick is gone. He has got the same lead that Jake Nichols had and an even shorter run.
Surprised that Nick not been able to separate from the rest of the field. He's still in that big pack following Six. We look for the back, Springer and Mitchell fighting it out. Looking at the four Alex Weaver just behind him.
I'll say, well, looks like that was Beckner looking underneath for the position. Nope. Someone looked down low, but like you mentioned, Jake Nichols is kind of leading the conga line here.
And maybe he's, again, as someone alluded to earlier, pacing himself and trading early pace for late pace. And by keeping everyone behind him, it's tough to pass right now. Keeping his track position and running the pace that he wants to run and not being forced to run faster. He can ignore Brandon Six for now. He knows he can beat him later if he needs to, but right now he's got everyone trapped behind him, and they're all in the web of Jake Nichols with nowhere to go.
Battle further back for 16th place between Mitchell and Martin. We were just looking at that earlier on. They go side by side into turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, Jordan Martin's been in the mix here in the mid-pack along with Greg Mitchell. They've been around each other quite a bit at times tonight. Kind of where Jordan Martin's been, right around 16th, 17th there, trying to take the spot away from Mitchell, and it looks like he will for the time being.
Ryan Swan following these drivers. We haven't really talked a lot about Ryan tonight. 27th to 18th, progress has been slow, but he continues to move that PlayerRaces.com Toyota just a little bit closer to the front. And now looking at the Toyota badges on the timing and scoring, we got two more joining the club, Springer and Yonoshiwu up in the top 15 in that Toyota badged car.
Yeah, just in behind them, Alex Weaver in the 4. I got to mention him. Started 38th, is up 19 spots into 19th, biggest mover of the race by far. And looks like he's still got enough pace to continue moving forward here. We'll see if we can break the top 15, try to make it plus 20 for the night.
Wants to join his teammate Matthew Bell inside the top 10 for IRLC Motorsports. Again, Weaver had that massive start to the season, finishing second in the area of 500. He's been solid throughout the season. Kind of running mid-pack here, nothing too shabby with his night so far. And as mentioned with Ryan Swan, he needs just a solid run. Just needs to stay out of trouble. That's what he's been doing so far, 50 laps in. Hopefully he can keep that 19 car rolling.
Looking at the gaps throughout the field, it is a pretty consistent tenth of a second between each car, except for this group, second through eighth, all within about a tenth to a tenth and a half of each other. And kind of pushing the issue here, I'd say. They look a little antsy, but they just are struggling to get any kind of overlap and build any sort of run. But all their speed differential is happening mid-corner fitting, where they just don't have the ability to turn down underneath each other, but they're just stuck in line.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those most frustrating things to deal with as a driver, because you're kind of stuck in lane. I was talking about it earlier. You're kind of stuck in the lane. You feel like you can kind of go somewhere, but the door closes and you can't really build a run, so you're kind of stuck in the middle of nowhere, and you can't like kind of lay off because you got guys breathing down your neck in behind. So you're kind of just thinking, what do you do? Do you push? Do you try to conserve for later on, or do you just kind of continue what you're doing?
I'd say look in the next 10 laps or so, we'll start to see some separation in this group from second through eighth. Like mostly with Jake Nichols, I feel like he's going to start churning a little bit faster lap times here in the next 10 laps or so to start separating himself from that group. As Brandon Six, boy, he's checked out 1.5 seconds. I think that gap's going to shorten in the next 10 laps or so.
Yeah, Brandon Six's last lap, a 34.671 to a 34.708, so still growing that advantage for now. We'll check back in a couple of laps and see how it does. I think you're generally right, Hunter. I think that 91 is going to start pulling away. He already has started to do that. He's put some distance on James Scioli and is beginning to stretch this spring out a little bit. But the middle of this fight, really from Weishart, Beckner, and JT Poole, this has been a pretty volatile fight. Beckner all over Weishart and Poole all over Beckner, but it seems to have slightly fizzled for now.
Yeah, like Hunter mentioned, we'll see if that does pick up later on as the laps start to take out. But for the most part, pretty much everyone else you can see in entering 3 is pretty much single file. Everyone kind of starting to get into a groove, and it's a little bit of an action there. It's Brad Sauter Jr., Shane Abbey in the 12, duking out 22nd. I'm kind of surprised for Brad Sauter. It seemed like he had a faster car, in practice, but in qualifying, it's not really been the case. And even in the race, too, he's been hovering around 20th position. And you know, we did mention how he's complaining about the car, can't stand this thing. And it seems like the car doesn't like him tonight, unfortunately.
Sometimes that'll happen, but yeah, I mentioned that he was not a fan. Oh, as there's the 95 of Keegan up near the wall, kind of slicing and dicing back there with, that is the 39 of Kyle C. That is for position, but the 95 getting a little too high. Haven't talked about Kyle tonight. He's kind of kept it right around that 28th, 29th-ish positions. Stayed out of trouble for the most part.
Yeah,
He got caught up in some shenanigans there with the 95.
He's had a pretty clean night so far, trying to keep the fenders on it, getting his way forward, albeit very slowly. I want to also mention that Douglas Dubingen, who qualified 9th, he has fallen like a stone even more than Aaron Smith has. Aaron has kind of stalled out around 14th place, but Douglas continued to drop all the way down to 24th. He's got Jeff Ryan all over behind him, as actually Brad Slaughter goes up the racetrack in 3 and 4. So still a little shuffling back here, and Jeff Ryan. We haven't really talked a lot at all about the Ryan guys tonight. Jeff down in 25th.
Yeah, that's because they really have been nowhere near the front. They've been really struggling. A bit surprising because they've shown some decent pace in at least in the other series, but it seems like for the next gen car is not particularly their bread and butter. Actually, here's an interesting thing. I just looked at Jeff Ryan's stats. All 4 of the races he had this season: 33rd, 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 and 33rd.
Yeah, so Jeff Ryan looking to get a run go. So that's actually a solid place for him. As you mentioned, he's been running back around outside the top 30, so this is a solid effort from the 37. Don't think brother Tommy is racing tonight
No.
Yeah, Tommy Ryan's really been good. He's been inside the top 10 majority of the season, just like Brad Slaughter, but tonight, not the night. Coming down pit road, a bit early for pit stops, I would assume.
Yeah, maybe. Again, I don't know what the expected run is tonight, but it could be the start of some green flag runs. Although, again, if you can make it to lap 70, you're just going to do that pit once and be done. And I'd imagine if the sequence is just starting now, Finney, we've got some laps left before everyone is required to hit pit lane.
Could also be that Brad Slaughter probably feels like it drives like as one driver has quoted in the past, a rack bucket of expletive. And I guess considering I mean, Brad isn't running for the points in this series, so I think he just figured you just come on down, get some tires, maybe get him back out there and see, hope for the best.
Looking for the best here. 22 of DeLeo and the 1 of Noel, 11th and 12th on the racetrack. Dom DeLeo's had some success here in the past in the previous series in the area, but he's looking solid so far. Just a spot outside the top 10. That held by Rafe Slayton, the 8 car just a little further up the road. And I want to go ahead and take a look at that gap that's closed down to about a second between Brandon Six and Jake Nichols. Did mention we start to see some separation. He's still bringing some drivers with him as He's hanging on to the coattails of the 91, but that gap is closing between first and second.
Yeah, 35-0, 35-1 for Nichols, 35-2 to a 35-3 for Brandon Six. So yes, it is coming down. We're about 25 laps into this run. I mentioned splitting the race in halfway. That was from the 25 lap ago mark. So I think you could see pit stops around maybe lap 90 to 95, maybe, Finian, if we could get that far. But Brandon leading, but leading, I think.
Yeah, we'll see now if the tables start to turn here as Nichols starts to chase him down. If Six has got anything once the 9-1 catches up to him, it's going to be kind of tough to tell. Maybe everyone else has. That second pack is now starting to separate out here as Nichols is on the charge. Also want to mention, too, for Brad Slaughter Jr., yeah, that decided to give up. Didn't like the way the car was driving, so he's going to pull out. Hey.
Yeah. Intriguing.
Continues to work over lap times here, about a 10th quicker every lap. Balancino and the number 70 is around at turn 2.
Oh.
And that did not bring out a caution because that was below the racing surface, but he just gets loose here coming out of turn 2 and hit the inside wall.
Caution out. Brandon Key, I think, is involved.
Yep, back straightaway again. Oh, more cars. The 20's turned around.
Whoa.
Zimmerman.
It's parking lot.
And the 5 of Garrett Grant, Dwayne Culberson, and more. So big-time carnage on the backstretch.
What in the ding-dong happened here?
Look at Tom Bourne. He looked like the start of this. So comes off turn 2, drifts down
Oh,
low,
wow.
drifts back up
Oh,
high, hard.
no.
Oh!
And then this
Well,
group
that's-
kind of piles in right
that's-
after.
Well, that was an awkward way to wreck at Gateway. He almost hit that opening, which could have been a lot worse. There's Key, the 20, the 5, and then Culberson with nowhere to go. Then just kind of, like you said, becomes a parking lot.
Yeah, really 3 separate incidents going on here, but all caused by the same one, just stack up after.
Yeah, that's one way to park.
That was a big mess there for sure.
I don't think that they teach you that in driver's ed.
No, that's not how they ask you to do it.
Is that not how you guys park? Come sliding into your parking spot.
Right here, I mean, the 20 and the 5, they get locked up together in the avoidance there. The 20 slammed the brakes, the 5 couldn't do anything about it. The 81, nowhere to go. Sliding by. The 95 got tagged in a different way, entered this collision in a completely different context than the other drivers did.
Yeah, it looks like Garrett Grant, he might have got a decent hit to the right rear wheel from 71. Oh, the 80.
There's Andrew Player avoiding the wreck.
Now watch this, the 95. Not much you can do. Pit stops have happened and are completed. Now we've got a little bit of a change in strategy here. Order's a little backwards right now as a couple drivers are coming back down pit lane. But Nichols, Beth Noel with a 2-tire call. Dioli, Weishart, Beckner, so strategies here.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, I guess at some point you got to make that call. Again, I feel like it's still a little bit too early for that. But, I mean, I guess at some point might as well try something.
Approaching the halfway point. By the time we hit the restart, we'll be right around it. Quick little race recap here to get a look at what we've done so far. Wrong logo there. 76 laps to go, 3 cautions for 9 laps. Expecting 6, maybe 8 cautions by the time this is ended. You'd expect a few more towards the end. Everyone's going to be so desperate on these restarts because it's so hard to pass. So I think we've established at the restarts you can get some positions while everyone's kind of offline. But as soon as everyone falls into that rhythm, it just gets...
Yeah, it really does. And I'm curious if we're going to see it now start to get more aggressive on these restarts, because I'm sure these drivers know that it's going to be really hard to pass in the longer runs. It doesn't get easier. It gets, if anything, gets a little bit harder unless the guy ahead of you has really burned up his tires and burned up his stuff. So might potentially see get a little bit more chaotic here approaching the second half of this race.
Yeah, I'm really looking here. The biggest loser out of these pit sequences is the 66. He's fallen all the way down to the 9th. I'm not sure what happened, if he overslid a pit box or something, but to go from the lead all the way down to 9th, something had to have gone wrong.
Didn't have a bad pit stop, but his pit lane time was 3 seconds slower.
Yeah, he slipped through his pit stall. I was just looking at the replay now.
Do it.
Oh, actually, you know what it was is that he went a little bit ahead, and then he was actually still technically in the line, but the iRacing actual service pit box is different from the painted one. So he was a little bit further ahead, and then he had a reverse, and he thought he was good, then he actually had to reverse even more than he thought, just another foot or two. So that's what cost him so much time.
I think the iRacing pit boxes are just a point in space with a radius. And if you're in that radius, you're fine. If you're not, you're not. I don't think they have anything to do with, judging off of how pit stalls have kind of been done in Pyrus code and before. It would be kind of cumbersome to mark out where all the lines are. I guess in theory it could be a linear distance from front to rear from a particular point, but my bet is it's just a radius or some kind of distance from a center. Yeah, it's frustrating. Have all the tires in the box and then not have it line up. We've seen that at a couple tracks where I think Watkins Glen's one of them, where if you just don't get it right, it becomes impossible to fix, and it can put you down very, very deep running order.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of guys do a little bit of a shuffle because they're a little bit too far forward, too far to the left, and if they kind of awkwardly reverse and try to figure out where the actual thing is, because that's the frustrating thing is, right, because it doesn't match the actual painted lines. You don't know where you actually need to line up to make sure you're in. You just kind of make sure you're the most centered you can be, and that's kind of tough at certain tracks like you mentioned.
Going back to the restart, lights are off on the pace car. Take this moment to tell you about 16. Tom Bourne would have had a drive-through for causing his second incident, but he is retired, as is Brandon Key, Alan Ballacino, Brad Slaughter Jr., Kyle C., Bronson Stafford, and Bryce Senesac. So of our 40 starters, we're down to 33 runners. Andrew Player, 11 laps down in 38, still running. Everybody else, other than Seidenfeiden, is on the lead lap. 31 cars on the lead lap, 33 running at lap number 68. We'll be 3 laps from halfway on this restart. Vic Nichols is in command. Seth Noel on a 2-tire call is to his outside. Everybody's paying attention what this one is going to do on this restart. How long will he stick up in this group before he falls by the wayside because of this tire strategy call? If we go green from here to the end, 43 minutes from now, we'll crown a winner. Round 5 of the Area Cup Series. Green flag back in the air. Aggression on these restarts, you have to be. Just know that it's going to get challenging to make moves, so you have to be pushing early on these starts. Vic Nichols clears the way. Seth Noel runs in second as everybody else funnels into turn 3.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well for the moment. Again, still have to see how he's going to do in the next coming laps once everyone starts to get up to speed. Currently, Weishart and Scioli side by side for third place. Weishart got the advantage of the one on the outside heading to turn 1 now.
Yeah, better restart there for the one of Noel than what I thought was going to happen. 3 wide in the back here, 6 and Bell and Slate.
Whoa!
That's going to get tight.
They touched through turn 2, but they held on to it. Everybody scatters left and right on the backstretch, and wow, they're in a bad spot. 66 is in the middle.
Wide back there.
A whole lot of cars, not a whole lot of space. Everyone duking out for position. This is what I was talking about, it getting more chaotic. Everyone trying to make up as many spots as humanly possible. In behind, still, we got Weishart now in behind, going to try to pull out to the inside of the one. He will go into turn 1.
Great battling here for second and fourth on the track as they try to chase down the 91 of Jake Nichols. Going to get tight off of 2. They're still keeping it going. 33 in the 7. Teammates there on the bottom. Trying to fend off the 1 and the 28. Another pair of teammates. Miller racing on the outside. David Weishart racing on the bottom.
I know it's not looking good for Noel, but I will say that he's held on for a couple laps. We get a really late race restart, and everyone has to come for tires. Maybe 2 would work if you have a green-white checkered. I don't think with anything more than 3 or 4 laps you're going to want 2, though. I think you want 4 into turn 1. Here comes the 7 on the inside of the 28. Battling for positions. It's tight behind the 1. Wow, look how tight that is.
Yeah, I was going to say, now we're starting to see that one just not able to keep up to the pace as everyone else with the 4 tires. Scully trying to make the move. Actually, they lost some time there. One was getting a push from the 28 down the back straightaway, and caution out. I think race.
Oh, this will be a big one. Turn 3, it's a mess.
Oh, look out. Got cars going all over the place in the grass and moving through. But did see that they were 3 wide in the back there a couple moments ago. We'll have to take a look at our SimRep market replay and determine how this all happened. And it looked like it was way further up the road.
Yeah, the
8 and the 3 making contact into turn 3.
Oh yeah, the 8 turns the 3. That's how it starts.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, that's it. I've never seen anything like that. The 3 was the one that got turned, but then he got the car righted and then actually hip checked the 8 into the wall.
Man, he got just absolutely drilled, and DeLeo nowhere to go.
Looks like that was Jonas Shiwu in the 84 again, a piece of that as well. But yeah, this whole sequence is so odd. Just that slight touch just sends the 8 into the wall, careening back into the 84, and DeLeo's got nowhere to go, so he just plows right into the 8. Then everybody else tries to navigate through.
Right behind the 3 on corner entry, drives in like he's got this advantage, but just gets it, just a miscalculation there, I think.
I think also I think it looked like the 3 checked up for what was happening in front of him. It looks like he saw it a little bit more, I think, than Slate was thinking of. Slate tried to make an evasive move to the inside, but just wasn't able to make that move executed in time.
Here's on board with Hearts. He definitely lifted early.
Great
Actually-
save from the 3 too.
Yeah, I was gonna say he got away with pretty much minimal damage.
They was just too late on the brakes, and that was actually the saving grace for the 3 because in the end it worked out. He saved the car, and the 8 ended up going in the wall.
He will carry on and continue the 8 and the 22 with some big time damage, and I would say it's safe to say that the 8 car is done. He's already retired that Chevrolet, or that Ford rather.
Getting a report from the 33, he would like this race to hurry up because he needs to use the restroom.
Well, race car drivers just go in their suits, so if you have a suit, you can just go right in.
That's funny that you mentioned that because he just said that he rather urinate himself than pit to go to use the restroom.
This is a longer
Larry?
race than normal. At 140 laps at 34-second lap times, about an hour and 40 minutes or so once we go from start to finish. So this is a pretty long one, and the cautions are only going to extend
The
that.
one is using the access road. I'm not sure if maybe he has to go and is just pulling off.
Yeah,
or,
it isn't going to get you a penalty or anything. I think he's just
he's just switching it up.
like taking the Roval chain on the backstretch at Daytona.
I thought he might have been doing that there just to maybe save fuel or something.
There is a
Like
road
that.
course here, by the way. It's not a
It's a
great
road
layout.
course I was going to say it's a road course we want to talk about.
No. That's where it goes. And that's actually
There's
how this track is configured most of the year.
Well, there's your next Roval idea.
Definitely not. This is not a Roval that you want. I mean, it's not good.
Much rather do the Iowa Roval.
That one's not even good either.
And actually,
If they're going to
well,
do any other
it's-
Roval, Kansas's doesn't suck that bad. It just needs something on the backstretch to spice it up.
one Roval I will say that's surprisingly good after doing a race on an endurance race on it is the Auto Club Rovals.
Yeah, the Auto Club
It's
one's
surprisingly fun.
Now, the Auto Club track also, I discovered, has a secret layout that you can't run. That if you have the Great Show version of iRacing, there is a layout of Auto Club Speedway that is just, it's the road course, but it has jumps, and there's no dirt. So it's like a stadium super truck layout, basically. And why we don't have that drives me crazy, because I know it would be amazing.
Yeah, I don't understand why we don't have more tracks with just like a jump configuration where they just put a bunch of ramps here and there. Like Long
fun,
Beach,
man. Just make it awesome.
Detroit, those would be so much fun.
Remember,
just
Finian,
jump
do you remember
flying over.
the races that we ran with the 3-wide league like a year ago? We ran a truck
Yeah.
series race at the Sonoma Rallycross course.
Yes.
That was fun. And it wasn't
we
as
need more
much of
crazy stuff.
It wasn't as much of a disaster as you'd expect either.
Well, all in all, I say we just turn Texas into a road course.
Yeah, we just bulldoze that place and start over.
Or just make it one big lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot more use.
All
that
of
way,
Texas, not even just the racetrack. All right, anyway, coming back to the green flag. I'm going to get canceled by Texans. Coming to the green flag, lap 76 of 140. Back underway. Jake Nichols fires off.
Jerry Jones doesn't want the state of Texas underwater.
Oh, big stack up. The 71 drops to the inside. Trying to grab some positions there. Douglas Dubiging trying to move his way back forward up to 15th after dropping down to the mid-20s. And the one, the push from the 28 down the backstretch.
Yeah, remember, he's still got those slightly older tires on the left side of the car. He's got fresh right side tires, but he's still probably going to be losing some position here. Beckner to his inside. JT pulling behind, trying to tuck on in to also gain a spot. Now looks like the one's going to start to drop back down the order.
Oh, here we go. Battle for the lead. Weishart looking to the inside of Nichols. He's going to have to send it down in there. Mentioned it's tough to make passes on the track, especially in the early going, and that's when you got to make the move. Weishart got the nose out in front for the moment, but that run helps the 91 maintain the lead. And now Scioli looking to the inside for second.
Yeah, big move to the inside for Scioli. Weishart couldn't rotate the center, had the bail on it. And the 7 now drops to the inside to take advantage, but I don't think he can do much here on the bottom if 33 can complete the exit. The top side has not been good tonight. The 33 drives up the racetrack, and Beckner's going to have a great view of this. He's going to push the 33 down into turn 1, but I think Scioli's going to have this. Oh, wow, that 33's in there really deep, Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say he's going to have to try to turn him down low. He can try to get that run off the corner, but Skyler is able to clear, so he's on good. Beckner now to the inside, almost there, and just a little bit of overlap between himself and Weishart off into turn 3. Here comes Beckner now on the inside.
They're gonna bang
and it's going to door him.
I was just going to say these two have had history before at Sonoma, so I don't know how well the 33 is going to take that contact.
Well, they take it for now. Not done yet, though, into turn 1. The 28 and 33 bounced off each other once. JT Poole looking at his lips. He wants both of them.
The question for him is where do you go? You really can't make 3 wide in turns 1 and 2. We've seen that in disaster almost a few times.
Take him 3 wide.
Oh, it's going to do it in 3 and 4. You can do it in 3 and 4. It's going to be a little bit tight, especially throwing it up the inside.
Oh, the 28 just threw it down there into turn 3. Can he hang on to it now?
Well, he was under the impression that the 32 was going to make it 3 wide. That's why he had to send it down there. Richard Weishart's like, what in the world is he doing?
Man, this is good stuff. Scioli all over the back of Jake Nichols, but for third, it is a fight. Weishart struggling big time through the center of 1 and 2, and that's where he's going to lose this. And now JT Poole smelling blood in the water. He's going to try to drop to the inside. The 33 throws the block, and the 32 crosses back over again. Fool me once, fool me twice. Aaron Smith slow out of turn 2, trouble.
Oh man, a night that has gone from bad to worse as he spins it on the back stretch. No caution. I think we will get one because there's no cars passing by, so they have enough time to get it back going. But man, has this night been horrible for the 72.
Oh, look at this mess into turn 1. Look out, Hunter, they're coming towards you.
Okay, they made it. I'm okay.
Ricky Springer in the middle of all this. So is the 66 of Brandon Six. He has not recovered from his poor pit stop yet. Hasn't had the time. Has the pace, just needs clear racetrack to do it.
Hasn't had the time to get back up there, but he's also running out of time too. The lap's starting to tick down now, even as we tip over the halfway point of the race, lap 80. So he's got just about 16 laps to go. So he's got that much time to try to get back up the order. And without some more restarts, I don't think he may be able to gain that many spots under green lot to see if he's good at, in the midfield and in traffic.
I know there's less than 60 to go, but looking back at the poll question, will we see a new winner tonight? If you selected yes, sorry to say it, but the top 3 have all won a race this year.
Yeah, the statistics are not looking in your favor here as Weaver and Springer fight for positions, and Alex Weaver gets used up a little bit, but he has had a great night. 38th to 11th. Might lose this spot here to the 18, but either way, his progress continues forward.
Ooh, Springer making a mistake in turn 1, a little bit of a bobble, trying to still maintain that run. Can't quite do it. I think Weaver's going to get him here. So with the better exit, indeed, he will in formal clear. And yeah, Weaver up 27 spots from the green flag. Starting to drop the green flag.
Oh, big stack up here. The 66 and 18 are going to bounce off each other.
Well, you see all of IRLC Motorsports is there. You got Bell up in 9th, you got Weaver in 11th, and then that 12 with Shane Abbey. He's slowly making his way towards the front as well.
Big dive from Brandon Six. He can sense the desperation.
Oh!
But he can't. Again, you have to throw it down there and just hope you can clear the driver, or they're going to, oh, there's the caution. It's Chris Seiden fighting.
Well, saying hi to the fans over there in 1 and 2.
Tough night for the 45.
And he had no help. He just lost it on his own.
That was interesting.
I wonder if he locked the rear brakes. Got into turn 1 really hot with the pressure from the 2. Yeah, you see, he probably had to emergency brake to avoid the 77 who came up on really fast. Right on board to see if we can listen.
I was going to say in the replay, you actually see the rear brakes glowing from locking up.
Yeah, you heard the end. You hear and see the revs drop there. So I think he was just trying to avoid impacting the 77 of Jacob Bell. How quick he comes up on him.
That's a little too close for comfort.
I'd say.
That's a terrifying replay.
That's like, oh, you look up in your mirror and stop and go traffic, and you have that heart-stopping moment when a pickup truck almost takes you out. All right, do we pit? Look like it.
If you're in the back, I'd say why not?
To pit or not to pit?
Pit or treat.
Saw someone go down there. I think it's the 1. Yeah, that's not too surprising.
Looks like, ooh, the 60's going with them.
Oh, and a lot of the guys in behind him coming down. So that's the cutoff point, it seems.
Might as well. We have 4 sets instead of 3, so you might as well make the most out of them while you can.
Cars coming on pit lane here as we approach 50 laps to go. As Finian, you mentioned, we're kind of whittling this thing down pretty quickly. Nick Nichols has been the dominant car, but he hasn't been without pressure today. The 7, the 28, 66, all have had their goes, but no one has been able to consistently run from the 91 with the exception of the 66, who's now buried in traffic. And his night is all off secret because of that bad pit stop a couple of cautions ago.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy to see that, you know, again, just some mistakes here and there, how far it threw him off the pace. And like we said, passing is going to be pretty difficult. We've seen that in the top part of the field. The midfield, they've been able to scrap quite a bit here and there, but for the top few spots, it's been really tough, and it takes a lot of work to set up a pass, let alone execute it and get the pass done. So for him, he's got a lot of work to do. I think for Brandon, he's got to just kind of hope that things go his way. But, and we were talking about it before too, the rest of his finishes haven't been quite so good. We were hoping that this race for him would be a turnaround, but unfortunately it's looking not so good at the moment. Back in 16th for him.
Well, there's the city of St. Louis, all lit up.
Yep. Dimensions of it.
Yeah, I really kind of wish they came back and made it a little bit more of a 3. Yeah, there we go. That's a
There we go.
much superior start.
The powers of Microsoft Flight Simulator giving us some 3-dimensional buildings here to enjoy.
God, that looks so good.
Off in the distance, there it is, Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Oh, that looks so good too. From
Very
this angle.
unique racetrack with its tight and banked turns 1 and 2 and flat and wide 3 and 4. The arch off in the distance there.
I always wonder what people think whenever they're passing a racetrack, especially whenever there's racing going on at that track, whether it's NASCAR or any car or whatever other racing series there is.
I've driven through a couple places that with people that were not race fans, and a lot of times tracks are in kind of inconspicuous places. But Worldwide Technology Raceway, you know, actually we'll go back to it here. The interstate go right by it, so you actually drive that shot right here. So you actually drive and you can see the grandstands, and it's a pretty interesting sight to look at. It's got all sorts of sponsors and branding, and really looks the part. Some racetracks, though, you drive by and you'd never know. Far away from the major road. Or in Watkins Glen's case, I grew up around there. You come up over the crest on County Road 14, and you come up over the crest of the hill, and you see the walls and the grandstands in the distance, and you get that exciting feeling that you're going to watch a race this week. It's something that you don't ever quite get used to. All right, we'll take this opportunity now to get one more partner in before we go back racing again. Fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Be sure to follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see who will take home $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings.
I think I smell some barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
Some barbecue cooking. Because it's about to get hot up front.
One's about to get roasted. Or smoked.
Burned.
Or burned.
Or burned. Yeah, one of
We'll
those.
see.
Will it be sweet or will it be spicy for the number 91 of Jake Nichols? Coming back to the restart lap 89. Green flag back in the air and underway again at Gateway.
Yeah, he's been nailing these restarts. And Beckner also off to a very solid start. Almost clears Scioli heading down into turn 1. He's going to try to see if he can hit check the Steven and get him out of second place. And he was able to in the middle of the corner.
A little bit of door banging back here between the 84 and the 9. But we all come out the other side okay. A little 3-wide action back here, Hunter.
Don't make it 4-wide. Nope. Do not do that. Please don't do that. That's New Bigging on the bottom, Noel, and then the 19 of Swan on the outside. Looks like they're going to shuffle it down to at least side-by-side, which is better than 3-wide. That would have been even worse. Car up near the wall. Looks like that was Culberson towards the back, but they're shuffling all over in the mid-pack.
66 is trying to move back forward. Back in 15th. It is a Hornet's Nest and a slide in front of him and a spin that's denied of Matt Bell.
Oh, and they're wrecking hard coming out of 2.
Wow.
Massive crash. Massive crash.
Brandon Six involved as well, and many others. So a small wreck turning to a big wreck here.
It is
Another parking lot.
It is definitely a parking lot in the back straightaway. Everybody's everywhere.
And that got way too tight coming out of turn 2. You saw that from the 18 of Ricky Springer, I believe, that he was on top of something. Someone was underneath that car.
To look at it. Oh, it's okay. So it started just ahead of them, and got to get through, shoots the gap, and holy cow!
Ah, they were 4 wide off the corner. That's why. So we're talking about 4 wide being very bad, and there you're seeing it right there.
Okay, let's break this down a little slower here. The 9 of Matt Bell is the first one. So the 84 gets loose underneath them, tags Matt Bell. They spin up the racetrack here, and this is the accident we were watching. The 18, watch him. He's going to try to shoot the gap here 4 wide as the 84 comes back down the road. The contact slams the outside wall up on top of the 84 and goes for a tumble, and the 60 takes a hard lick, and then it's just chaos from there.
Yeah, that was all in chain reaction to the wreck that we saw occur just in front of them. And boy, it did not work out. You know, they can't make all that contact and get away with it, and someone's got to pay the price, and that was the 18.
Big impact here, and the rest of the field just piling in after the 19 gets turned around. 64 gets clobbered. Here it is at full speed again from the exit. Oh. And the 2 saw this all happening and still couldn't get slowed down with all that was going on around him.
I thought he saw a hole there open up, and unfortunately the 19 came spinning across in front of him and went right into him.
Here's the onboard with the 84. Let's go back a little bit further here. See if we can catch how it just goes in side by side and just there was contact initially that got him loose. There was 3 hits there before he finally got turned around. Oh gosh.
Almost took the camera out.
Oh, and then he scurries off into the grass.
1 time, 2 times, 3 times the charm.
But wait, there's more.
One car sends him around.
Oh, you got hit again. I think he made contact with 6 different guys over the course of that.
You have to feel for the 66. That car is done. Well, not done, but it's not going to be competitive at this stage.
It's done competitively, yeah.
Led some laps earlier and probably was the only one to really compete. Nick Nichols.
And the big caveat is that he probably wouldn't have been there had he not made that mistake earlier in pit lane that put him further back, and then he came in again to pit to get tires. So and that was a big risk, putting himself back further in traffic to try to gain some speed, and unfortunately he's going to pay the price here.
It's just one of those situations where, you know, you're up front, you have so much clean air, and then as soon as you get put in dirty air, we've seen it happen to drivers in the past. As soon as you're in dirty air after being up front all day, it affects the car dramatically, and you can't get a control of it. And being in the middle of that pack, it definitely didn't help, and we could not see the 66 find that resurgence to the front.
Working lap number 93 of 140, quickly closing in on the final laps of this race before we get back green. Fans, be sure to check out area iRacing.shop for merchandise to represent your favorite driver. Got from our selection of t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, stickers, and more. Area iRacing.shop. So, does anybody have anything for this number 91? And are we done pitting? I think, my guess is if we go another 20 laps or so and then get a caution, everyone hit pit lane with about 25-30 to go.
Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see these guys come down again. I think I got just under 50 laps to go, so they're going to have to make at least one more pit stop, I would think. So the question is really, like you said, when is that going to happen? Imagine probably going to be when we see a caution, depending, though, on when we see the caution, I guess. Because for some guys, they might think, I might wait for another caution, and for some guys, they might think now's the time to come in, but, you know, everyone has a different crossover point. So we'll have to see when that crossover point is for the leaders.
I think the more yellows we get, the better for those up front, because they can just save fuel. And like I said, last year we saw Jake Nichols go about 80 to 90 laps on tires alone. So I think that might answer the question with fuel, although not sure. Anything can happen. Still haven't hit the lap 100 mark yet. So there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, I'd say they've hit about 30 laps ago. They got to go another. Yeah, it is. Yeah, we'll see. Jake Nichols on the inside, Beckner on the outside. Jake has been clobbering everyone on the restarts. We'll see if he can do the same on this one. I think it's safe to say this will not be our last yellow, though, with the aggression on the restarts we have seen. Out of turn number 4. 47 laps to go, make it 46 as we get back underway.
Boys are giving a huge shove to Travis Beckner to get going off into turn 1. Trying to find with himself with Scioli. Scioli actually going to clear for 3rd place as they're side by side in the midfield.
Ooh, close there. Poole, and that's Jordan Martin. Martin all the way up inside the top 10, battling for the 7th spot. Well, now the 1 of Noel looking to the outside. Newbigging almost giving a bump to the 11. Tyler Nichols starting to make his way inside the top 10. And Cogswell in the 26. Didn't mention it, but he avoided that wreck also. So he's starting to slowly creep towards the top 10.
Yeah, Cogswell's having a good night. And also, let's mention Newbigging. He's clawing his way out of that hole he had dug for himself after a couple mistakes mid-race. Back inside the top 10 here at lap number 96. It's still a little ways to go to hang on to this here. Oh, Carnival ahead of him. That's the 1 of Noel. And everybody scatters.
Oh, Newbigging trying to put himself between Noel and the wall just where that gap was in the opening. He was just able to squeeze his car by safely. Going to try to rock it around the outside, around the 1, but can't quite get there. Here comes Cogswell up the inside.
Oh, that's going to get tight. Woo! There's Tyler Nichols. Haven't talked about him too much tonight also. He's a couple spots shy of the top 10.
Started 12th and running 12th. It's been an unremarkable night, but not a bad one. 37 to Jeff Ryan, Tom DeLeo back here fighting for 12th and 13th. If we can just get 5 or 10 laps under this run, things tend to calm down, but everyone knows how challenging it's been, so you got to grab, take. Really have the opportunity. Look at that, almost touched there.
Very, very close. 37 of Jeff Ryan trying to fight around the outside. Can't quite get there. It's going to be DeLeo that's going to clear him off of turn 4. Actually, not quite. Here comes 37 back on him.
That's the 17 of Michael Sturgill. Oh, nearly getting into the 22 of DeLeo. They're kind of checking up here with Garrett Grant and Jacob Bell.
Oh, the 45.
Oh, let's go! Massive crash. That's Sign Fine going around. Caution's back out. Greg Mitchell into the wall, and that's Matthew Bell getting another piece of that as well. Brandon 6 looked like he made it through.
45 had Muriel for one of the previous cautions. Not been his night. And just gets loose back up across the racetrack.
Ooh. Alex Weaver avoiding that.
Just does the classic overcorrection up into the outside wall. Then the 2 of Mitchell. How did he?
Ow.
Big hit there. He was just following all this. Oh, right here. Gets into the back of the 81 and just hits the grass and locks the brakes. Not much you can do at that stage.
Sorry, that hit from Signify, that might be a concussion.
Yeah, that's time. This one too. That was a quick change in direction. Oh, next caution on the night, and we'll stops a different group. This time the 28, the 3, the 32, and more finish.
Yeah, so split strategy amongst the leaders. So this is what I was talking about, for some of these guys had that mark, when they were going to decide to come in to make another pit stop. Ryan Hart's actually misses pit stall, overshot a little bit. So some guys deciding now it's time to come in, others waiting and staying out. Not many, though. A majority of the people that did stay out came in under that previous caution, where we saw a vast majority of the back half of the field come in. Of the leaders that have not come in at all recently is Nichols, Scioli, Weishart. Everyone else of the leaders that were yet to pit, they came in to get their service, potentially for the last time.
So the 28 lead that group off pit lane. He will come out in 18th place and going to have about 35 lap fresher tires, 36 lap fresher tires than Jake Nichols. 40 laps to go, but starting 8th quick. Now, there has been fall off. It hasn't been hugely significant, and I would predict a number of yellows here to the end. Oh boy. I don't know where I want to end up. I think I want to have already made my final stop. I want to be Seth Noel, probably. I made a 4-tire stop about 15, 20 laps ago, and I'm behind 3 drivers that haven't pit in 36 laps, but I have track position that the guys that just pit don't have. Expect some more yellow. So I think Noel, Cogswell, Nichols, DeLeo, and Moore on the right strategy.
And also, we have to consider the fact, too, he's got behind him separating himself from the guys that just came into pit and himself. He's got about, I think, I would say about 15 cars almost between him and the group that just pit. So he's got a buffer to work with as well.
I'd say I want to be the 26 of Jonathan Cogswell. If there's a wreck, he's going to avoid it. Just seems like it just seems like it's a natural occurrence every time we have a race now, where the 26 will avoid at least one wreck in a race.
Well, here's, I guess, the problem is either he is avoiding the wrecks and passing people because of that, or people are crashing in front of him and causing him to have to dodge wrecks. What happens when he gets to the front? There's no one to dodge. Like dividing by 0.
I say, who said the wrecks had to stop up front?
Well, well, then he becomes the thing that he hates the most. Hey, Cogswell, though, a great night, 36 to 5th, plus 31. Great evening.
If we're seeing these guys that are kind of sitting behind now, they have a chance to attack the leader. Seth Noel, he has been pretty strong with the fresher tires. He was able to pass some of the other guys that were yet to pit and were currently now sitting 30 laps old on their tires. So he's able to make some use of it, but we'll see. Now he's got just a few. He got 3 guys to pass. Can he get past those 3 and get to the lead?
Well, we're within 40 laps now, slowly but surely getting towards the end of this race. I did say it would be kind of like cautions breeding cautions towards the end of this one. Seems like that's where we're headed. So if you made your final pit stop, I wouldn't be, well, I'd only be worried about a wreck happening right where you are. But other than that, I'm okay with having newer tires compared to those running up front.
Other than that. There's been a lot of midfield wrecks
only downside
tonight.
to it.
That's the only downside is your car
downside.
might get destroyed in a couple of laps. So, yeah, no worries. There's some damage to the nose of the 30. No, just the way the splitters look. That's just how it be.
For now, he doesn't do damage.
Pace car's off. 38 laps to go. The laps are winding down here from Worldwide Technology Raceway. Nichols using the outside lane for the restart. And fires off and away. He's gone. Wow, that's tight. 32 car making it 3 wide into turn 1.
Oh, this is where we may see that the next wreck happen here. Everyone with the fresher tires trying to make and move, dodge their way up through the field. There's a bit of a stack up almost into turn 3.
Bumper cars here towards the back. Got all sorts of swapping in positions going on. A little further up the road. That's Ryan Swan all the way up. They're still 3 wide in the back. Matthew Bell trying to come back towards the front. Seems like everyone's okay. 1 lap after the restart.
Really dicey into turn 1. There's going to be a touch there, a touch there. The 51 scatters up the racetrack. The 12 leaves plenty of space, but everybody being very tentative here after some contact into turn 1. And the 72 car, by the way, back up to 10th.
He's been able to benefit quite a bit from the string of cautions and some of the strategy plays. So he's been able to claw his way finally back up in the top 10. I'm sure he's glad to be back. We'll see if he can make any more forward progress.
Boy.
Whoa, almost a rack off the corner. Garrett Brandt trying to get to the inside of Dominic DeLeo into turn 1. Oh, and a hip check into the wall.
They're hard.
Oh, there they go.
Right in the middle
Oh,
of
the 28
lookout.
spins. Oh, the 28's in the wall hard out of turn 2. That car is junk.
That is the only downside about pitting. That inevitable wreck, and that left rear is not normal on the 28 of Vector. His night's probably done.
I would say so, and there was a lot more to that to unpack, and one of those wrecks that you're going to have to watch in slow motion the entire time. Got to go back even further than this, but it starts. Was it the 5 and the 22? They just get off into turn 1. The 5 just runs the 22 up the hill. Bam. Turns the 5, and then the 77 is already sliding with help from the 4 or the 9, Matt Bell, and they come back down the racetrack, take the 28, and just turns him up into the wall, and this is going to be a hard impact. Once, twice, all it is to finish off the 28 car this evening.
2 weeks in a row, the finish does not show the effort that the 28 took in tonight's race, and yeah, kind of a bad recipe there. They were already going up the track with an incident in front, and Beckner, innocent bystander in all this.
Right on board with the number 5, a Garrett Grant. It's off into turn 1, real hot. Drove in super too deep, way too deep.
Yeah.
Takes the 22 up the track, gets him in the wall. Thinks he's home free, and then look out.
There's a Travis Beckner.
That's a teammate too.
Unintentional consequences. On board with the 28. Grinding to a halt. Night is over for the 28 of Travis Beckner. Nick Nichols leads the way. Scioli, Weishart, Noel, Tyler Nichols, Cogswell, Sturgill, Smith, Culberson, and Ed Robertson are the rest of your top 10. It has been a tough night. Started with 40 down to 27 now.
Yeah, Trishinator's really starting to kick into gear here as we had a string of multiple cautions. In fact, actually, if we can get the graphic up, see how many cautions we've had total so far. We are up to 8 cautions.
Based on my prediction from the first half, we are already meeting, but we had 3 the first half. I thought we'd get plus maybe 2 late race ones, but already kind of ahead of that game here. Starts cautions breeding cautions, as Larry Mack would say, but more so than I think I even expected.
Yeah, I think with the way we're going, probably the chance of getting over, getting to 10 at the least. We'll have to see.
You just need to get past the 5 to 10 lap after the restart stage, and then it just gets impossible to do anything. So that's why everyone's getting desperate now.
Well, yeah, that also, you got the guys in the back who pit. They have fresh tires. They want to do as much as they can with it. So, and there's 3 sets of guys with fresher tires, or 3 sets of 3 groups of drivers with varying tire life. So the guys in the back, they're trying to race their way up to the front because they know time is of the essence, and especially with cautions coming out, it's going to make them race more and more aggressive. That's usually why we see cautions breeding cautions.
And back in that caution that came out most recently, 5 of Garrett Grant going to get the EOL, and this time it's a drive-through because if you remember, he was the EOL for one of the earlier cautions, and now the second EOL is going to be a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, this one, he just got in there too hot. And just run the 22 up the hill, and so that one was definitely on him. I think the first one, there was situations that kind of led to that, but that one was on the 5. It did come without a self-penalty. You see the nose of that thing punched in pretty good. No longer is the bow tie on the pointy end of the nose. It's on the punched in side. So Travis Beckner doesn't need to go pound his face in. He's already got the nose punched in on the 5.
Kind of a frowny face on the front of that 5.
Probably some frowny faces after that one.
A lot of frowny faces in the field.
Fun racetrack, but I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with that. It's just been, this car raced great at Iowa last week, but here in particular, it has been a challenge on the long run. We haven't really had a true long run, but tires were not wearing out enough or laying down rubber enough to create that multi-groove racing we saw with the previous generation of this car.
I think what you know what, guys, what I think is the solution, just slather the entire track with PJ1.
Yep.
Worked to Texas, right?
Yeah. You should pave a 1.5 mile high banked oval. Make it really wide in 1 and 2 and really narrow in 3 and 4. Make it stink. All right, lap 110. 31 laps to go. Nichols, Scioli. Nichols chooses the inside lane, experimenting with that front row, and we're back green again. front. Nichols, Skyly, Weishart, Noel, Cogswell. In 3 and 4, though, we're still 3 wide. Look at Brandon 6 trying to recover from his impact up to 17th place and climbing.
He's been able to make some decent forward progress, but he's still stuck in quite a litany of traffic to try to work his way on through, and he can only really work off one driver at a time. You don't want to make him 3 or 4 wide. We've seen him thinking about making a 4 wide earlier on.
Ooh, gonna get tight there. Culberson into the wall. Keeping it going.
Seen a couple drivers bounce off that outside wall. It doesn't seem like hitting the outside wall is going to hurt you here. Seems like getting loose and overcorrecting does. Sorry, fan.
No, I just want to say, how about the 72 Baron Smith? He just got past Cogswell to put himself back in
there
the
they go.
top 5.
Matthew Bell
There
into
they
the
go.
wall. Brandon 6.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
There it
it's
goes.
the long one.
Oh, Alex Weaver got taken out in that one.
That was all checking up for the 81, getting into the wall again, coming out of 4.
Yeah. Maybe hitting the wall all the time. I was going to say it doesn't hurt you, but it causes other people to have issues. And it's twice in 1 lap for Culberson. So contact here. No, I think he just drives up into the outside wall.
Yeah, actually, this is technically, I think, unrelated, because actually Bell was just trying to get himself off the wall.
Oh, yeah, maybe you're right. The
lose
43
himself.
does. Yep. Yeah, you're right. 43 just got loose all on his own. And where is the 43 in the? Because I'm looking for the 9. Man, the paint scheme thing's driving me nuts.
Yeah, remember, you got to look for the Eric Jones cosplay.
Yeah, Brandon 6 got a piece of that too on his recovery drive. Rack one up for the 9. Or the 43 or whoever.
Whoever's driving that car. Who knows?
Like I
Might not
said,
be Matthew Bell.
we were off last week for Halloween, so we probably just left the costume on.
Out of all the drivers to impersonate, why Eric Jones?
Why
Because
not?
he picked the Chevy.
I mean, look, I like
You know
Eric
what?
Jones, but I'm not going to say that he's by any means very exciting. No? Gonna pick
He
someone
did
scary.
win the Southern 500.
Sure, that Jones boy.
Looks like that's Cogswell coming down pit road.
Yeah, Cogswell's on pit lane. Looks like the 17. Sturgill's on pit road. 22, the 77, and the 2. But, Vinny, you pointed out the number 72. What a night this has been for him. The first half of his race, he was the pole sitter. First half of the race just frankly was terrible for the 72. Here he is in the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He didn't even lead a lap this entire race, which is really weird for the pole sitter. You usually expect them to lead at least 1 lap. You know, they lead the first lap. Didn't even do that after lap 1. I think he dropped back to 3rd or 4th by the time the first restart ended. By the time he had the first caution, he dropped to 5th, then back to 10th, then back into 15th. Spent most of the race around there, and finally he's pushing himself back inside the top 5. We'll see if he can stay here. It looks like he's finally found some pace, or starting to show some pace. I mean, what better time to finally start showing some pace than near the end of the race, up near the front?
Well, like I said, the cautions continue to help out the 91 and Jake Nichols. He only led 23 laps here the first time we went around. He's almost quadrupled that. 88, about to be 89. But I think he's more than no? It'll be quadrupled when he hits 102.
Oh, my brain hurts. Oh, man.
Wait, no.
What was the
now
original
my brain
number?
hurts.
Oh, gosh. 23?
23. So when he hits 92, that'll be quadrupled.
4
He's
laps
10
away.
off.
3 now. Gosh, that hurt.
That's hard.
That hurt my head. Racing commentators, not mathematicians.
Well, I mean, considering you would think you would be good at it because you're a computer engineer.
Haha, very funny. I don't even know how to write a freaking Hello World program at this stage. We're in trouble if I ever lose my job.
Hey, good thing you have a job as a commentator. Hopefully you can keep it.
Not too shabby at it either, but.
Well, if all else fails, you can just make a TikTok account and start a new trend that will get everybody doing it, no matter how dumb it is.
Oh, feet pics.
Oh, God.
Always someone. Nope.
That's very true. There's always that one guy.
Paint the nails and don't ever know. You just say. No. People don't ask questions.
No, people don't ask.
That's the
Some
real
do,
ticket.
some don't.
I'll field some questions, but You might get an ankle once in a while. That's my backup plan, guys. That's all I've got.
An ankle model.
My many talents. It's going on my resume. All right, on Jake Nichols' resume is the 890 laps that he's put down and completed tonight.
I say, we've been under yellow way too long. We need this race to get back green ASAP.
What do you guys want to talk about?
Hopefully the race.
My budding career as an OnlyFans model.
Oh, God.
Lights are off on the pace car, thank God. Never been
With
so
too many-
happy.
With too many cautions does to the commentators.
We're slowly entering the twilight zone.
Well, it's
if
just
we haven't
we're
already.
20 laps away. Let's just finish this thing out and be done.
We'll see, though. I think I still smell another caution or two.
Oh, it smells like the freshly baked pie of revenge here for a couple of these drivers. Pumpkin season.
Still? Well, yeah, Thanksgiving's coming up.
Yeah, Thanksgiving, man. Dunkin' Donuts is already selling peppermint flavored drinks. Would you please
Oh, yeah.
stop that? I'm still in pumpkin spice mode. Green flag back in the air. Nichols again free and clear of the field. The 1 gets to the outside of the 7. He tried to go 3 wide, but he can't do it. Tucks back in line.
Weiser going to try to throw it up the inside of Scioli. Can he clear him by the time they get to turn 2? It's going to be tough. He's going to throw it in there and clear the 7. Here comes Seth Noel, also trying to make a move, almost going to get into the 7.
No, they're shuffling 3 wide again in the middle of the pack. That's Culberson. No matter how many times he hits the wall, he's still up here. 71 a new bigging, 64 of Ed Robertson going high. This is going to be trouble. Someone's got to give.
Oh, they're not going to give. There they go.
Culberson!
Nope.
Yep.
Well.
Another long rack down the front straight.
You can see him coming from a mile away. You just get a little wiggle.
I don't think he hit the inside wall yet, so mark that one down.
Wait, hold on. How'd the 12... Hold on a second.
That was interesting.
How'd the 12 get involved in this? He just crashed?
I think he had help from the 6. 66.
No,
No.
He just gets loose in avoidance of the non-wreck that hadn't happened yet, and then he became the wreck.
Well, it looks like we are in the twilight zone.
They just get these things a little off kilter, and they just walk the walk on you. You can see the panic in his hands too. Watch the. This is great. Watch the hands here as he here. You can see the little panic twitch as he goes. Oh no! Right here. Watch.
He's like, up.
Nope.
Almost got it. Nope. Damn it. No. Well,
Crash. All right.
Hello, 81.
Oh man. Well, we're gonna take a very short break. Bring you to the Simrat Market. We'll be back after this short break with more Area Cup Series action from Worldwide Technology Raceway. 120 laps into 140 of the 5th round of the season for the 2022 Area Cup Series. You're watching SimTV. Kyle Heyer, Hunter Sleppy, and Finney DeCuna bringing you the action. 20 laps to go. Had a handful of cautions in the late race here. We have had a total of 10 cautions so far for 38 of our 120 laps. It has been a messy one tonight. 29 drivers are still rolling out of 40 that have started. Jake Nichols, though, has been the commanding leader of this race. Weishart runs second, Scioli in third, and Seth Noel and Aaron Smith wrap up the rest of your top 5. Guys, 20 laps to go. Finney, starting with you. Predictions here. Does Nichols take this to the end, or does he have a challenge from one of the drivers on fresher tires?
if we still keep getting these very short runs and cautions, I think Nichols is going to pretty much take it, due to the fact this Weishart and Scully have nothing to do. They have no time to build up a run on the 91, and even the guys in behind, Noel, Smith, Nichols, Poole, Hartz, all these guys are fresher tires, quote-unquote fresher tires. They don't have a chance to build up a run either. And then we got the guys that came in. Remember those guys that came in thinking they would get the freshest tires, they're going to blow their way on through the field. They're 16, 17, 18, 19, and they have not made any progress so far.
Well, I think that that 91's going to continue to sit pretty up there in the first spot, because on the restart especially, tough to get going whether you're on the inside or the outside. He's led 95 laps tonight. And we're definitely going to see it hit triple digits, I think, unless something drastic happens on this next restart. I can't see anything else going wrong for the 91.
Yeah, he has just been on it tonight, especially in those restarts. No one has been able to match his restart ability. And Finian, tell me about this new restart procedure. Of course, you got the zone. There's a new mechanic here in iRacing that gives the leader the option to go whenever. That was true before, but everyone just kind of predicted based on when the pace car pulled off. Now, you have to wait a little longer, and it can catch you by surprise. So how challenging is that to match the leader on the restart?
It is always extremely challenging, and we even seen last week, if I'm not mistaken, at Iowa, one of the other previous races where a driver was penalized on the outside for trying to jump the restart. iRacing gave a penalty, so it is a pretty strict system, and it's even tougher now because you get penalized for potentially jumping the start. But you also have to wait and try to see when the leader goes. Before, if you jumped, you can kind of give way and still let the leader go. Now you really have to wait for the leader to actually initiate and get off, start going. Then you can go, and I think that's what we've seen so many times that second place drivers worse off them in the past.
Yeah, I think that's the big difference there is, you're right, before you had the ability to give some time back before you hit the start-finish line to avoid a penalty. Now, if you're ahead at that launch zone, then you get black flag. We saw that happen last time out at Iowa. You're right about that. So there's extra penalty there, so there's extra incentive to be a little bit less aggressive for the driver on the outside of the front row. This time it'll be David Weishart lining up on the outside of the 33. He's 7, who is inside rear. Got the 1 to the rear of him, Aaron Smith, getting corner to him as well, but out front it is that 91, the Solar Flare Racing Toyota. Got the 41 up in the mix as well. Finally a teammate inside the top 10 after leading the field for the Toyotas for the majority of the race. 18 laps to go, winding this one down here from Worldwide Technology Raceway. Jake Nichols, Weishart, Scioli, Noel, Smith. Green flag, a little bit of a wobble and a weave from the 33 under acceleration.
Not a good start. Seth Noel trying to make the best of it, almost going 3 wide. He's going to make it 3 wide into turn 1. He's going to turn to 33 in turn 1.
Oh, he gets in, the wall keeps it going, but Weishart not going to be happy about the move that Seth Noel made. And
they're going to crash. There he goes.
No.
The 26 spins around, the 19 spins around, and the 33 trying to miss it. Wow, the 19 went backing across the racetrack, and he's going to presumably slam the inside wall.
Well, that's good.
They so.
Happened all up here. The one that Noel saw his opportunity and went for it, and well, the rest is history.
Just too aggressive there. Gets up into the 33 of Weishart, and him kind of checking up creates this bottleneck right here at the 66. That's what triggers this whole mess. Now watch the 19 back across the road, and then pow.
That also might be a concussion.
Yeah, that definitely is. But here's
definitely with this car, definitely.
Yeah, right here. Nothing. The 33 was as far right as he could go, and 66 kind of trips that whole second part off. 12 narrowly avoids getting clobbered in that too.
Boy, another tough break there for Ryan Swan. I don't know what he needs to do to. He was just an innocent bystander in that. He was as low as you could be, and just that small contact from the 66 just ruined his night.
All right, so closing down to what will be probably about 12 to 11 laps to go, Finian. At this stage, you're out of chances, I think, to come to pit lane, because we are probably going to get at least 1 or 2 more yellows, and we'll probably finish out under yellow given how aggressive you have to be into turn 1. So Nichols is in the best spot. I don't think anyone doubts that. Noel, despite his aggressive move there, if he gets POL here, he'll have to drop to the rear. But it'd be hard to do that because he didn't crash the 33, but he did kind of create the beginning of that. So he probably won't get penalized for that, but that was a close one.
Yeah, we'll see. I see Jacob Hudson, one of the admins for tonight, typing in the chat, and it's actually the 66.
Yeah,
that'll be getting the OL for really causing the incident.
He's the one that really tripped off the crash, but you know, the pressure started with the cork in the bottle because of the into turn 1. So an aggressive pass that I think Weishart will be frustrated about, but Noel had to do what he had to do. Off up into 3rd. But Hunter, on these restarts, you got to grab spots because we have not seen a lot of position changes since this rash of caution started happening. So you got to get what you can get. We're going to run out of opportunities to get them under green flag.
I'll just say this isn't the first time we've seen the driver of the number 1 get too aggressive at this particular track, whether it's real life or in the sim.
Oh, right, yes. How could I forget?
And I mean, hey, well, you might also be desperate for a move. There's a wall around the track. Don't think it'll work too well here, but
no. I mean, he's tried that with the front bumper already. Tried to run it, ram the wall down. Work out so well. How did the damage model get worse with the new damage model on these cars?
I don't know.
The ARCA car is so good, and these are not. I mean, they're
the only
stiff in real
car
life, but
have.
not that stiff.
Yeah, no, it really is weird because, like you mentioned, the ARCA card is like pretty much perfect with the damage model, the new damage model, and just they've never really been able to recreate the success with the other stock cars.
The rear damage, rear damage, I believe here. Ryan Swan's car shortened up about ½ an inch after impacting the wall at negative 56 miles an hour. But the front end damage, not as prevalent as I'd like to see. I was so confident in that new damage model too when they had that first coming out. Some cars, it's the open wheel cars in particular, the Indy car, that feels almost perfect to me.
Oh yeah, that thing's chef's kiss. It's beautiful.
Actually, most of the open wheel cars are. I think, for whatever reason though, the IR18, way the suspension breaks and that sort of thing, I think that just feels perfect. But the ARCA car's not too bad too, even though that thing is a much better example of the capabilities of that system. I think the problem is that a lack of significant damage model or a realistic one case kind of makes the problem worse, right? Because drivers are repairing things that wouldn't be repairable, getting back on track, and then causing and creating other incidents where they wouldn't have had the opportunity to before. I think it's something that's got to get solved. But
one day, maybe.
Soon.
Trademark soon.
Jake Nichols, 91, is going to restart on the bottom. I have 13 laps to go. Nichols, Scioli, Noel, Smith, JT Poole. Pace cars off. Back underway here in a moment. Jake Nichols going to try to fire off as he's done. Green flag back in the air.
Fantastic start for the 91. Off the turn one they go. Skyler going to throw the car down hard in front of the one with the block. 72. This is the best chance he's had of getting back to the lead all race long. Going to be to the outside of one. Noel saving it. Hard's going violent spin in the inside. He's going to stay off the track. We remain green.
Now we stay green for now. The 3 car, though, took a hard lick to the inside. We get back around to 12 to go. Noel losing ground here to the 72 as they come down the front straight. Aaron Smith was the pole sitter, but fell back, and there's trouble behind him. Everybody scatters.
Greg Mitchell got into the wall coming out of turn 4 slow, but still going straight, and Jacob Bell with a little slide there in front of the 2.
I think he got doored by 4 car of Alex Weaver.
Whoa, and there's the 1 of Noel moving down, now back up, allowing the 32 Poole to take over 4th.
Now a lot of shuffling and pushing and just desperation.
Oh, here comes Aaron Smith, though, at the front of the field. He's got fresher tires by about 20 laps. Is it enough to get past these top 2?
And JT Poole's got fresher laps than him by 15 laps. But Poole's not going anywhere. Aaron Smith is. He just needs all 10 laps to go green.
Loose off of turn 2, almost threw it into the wall. And here comes Seth Noel.
Trouble
with a
behind
big
him,
run
crash.
up.
Shane Abbey.
Yeah, they're still going.
Keeps it straight. Wow, the 32 way up the racetrack with the 1.
Yeah, Poole's really struggling to switch these tires on. He's got the speed, but it's also been a little bit loose for him, trying to push a little too hard.
Lurking in the back is brother Tyler to Jake Nichols. He's running 6th, looking to get that top 5. But back here, Douglas Newbigging and Jordan Martin battling for the 7th position. Cosmin Yoneshiwa. Yoneshiwa had a car on top of him, and he's running the top 10.
Killed him, but he ain't dead.
I mean, it just shows you how chaotic the last 50 laps or so was, that to be able to get that car back inside the top 10 here as they're side by side in a tough battle.
Yeah, this is a great fight here down the front straightaway. Off into turn 1. The 11 and the 64 of Ed Robertson. He'd love to get a top 10. He's been on the receiving end of plenty of incidents this season that weren't his fault. Or he'd love to finish this one up, Hunter, and get a top 10.
Oh, absolutely. The Muffin Man would love a top 10. He's currently running 9th. Yoneshiwu trying to fend off 10th actually from Dominic DeLeo, so he's got to send it low. DeLeo up high. The Val continues right behind and possibly underneath the 64 of Robertson.
Yeah, he's trying to hang on. The 5 of Garrett Grant. Jeff Ryan battling for position for 12th. Grant completes that pass. DeLeo tucks in line behind the 84. Charges into 1. Almost locks it up there, Finian.
Yeah, the big dive from Cosmin Yoneshiwo almost into the back of the 64, and now it's side by side with DeLeo dooring each other off at turn 2, and it looks like that's enough for Cosmin to get on by and clear the 22 for 10th place.
Holds on to it for the moment. In the meantime, here's the 37 of Jeff Ryan holding off David Weishart for the 13th spot with Wayne Culberson. He's hit about everything on the racetrack tonight. Still 15th, still quick.
Weishart going to be driving a little bit upset and angry with that push off in turn 1. He had a good opportunity to win this race tonight, or at least have a top 5. Ryan Hart's has pulled off the racetrack. His night appears to be done. And for second, Smith's progress has stopped, and he's running slower lap times than the leader, so the tire's not enough for Aaron Smith, but he's still trying to make progress and at least get into second.
He tried to run high. He's going to get a bit of a run here off of turn 4. He's going to try to get just a little bit of slipstream to maybe get himself to get inside turn 1. He can't quite get there. The 72 Smith, he's being patient with this. He knows not to just throw it in there. Big bonsai move. He's got Noel and Poole breathing down his neck.
Well, the back half of this top 5 pretty solid, none of which got a win this season, obviously. Yoneshiwu in the back, looking underneath of Ed Robertson for the 9th position as they head off into turn 3.
Threw it down there and hoped it would stick. Robertson drives up the road. Here comes DeLeo. Oh, he's going to get squeezed on the outside and squeezes back through into 10th. He will maintain the top 10 spot for now. Weishart and Culberson nose to tail, and now we're in that stage where we're past the restart shenaniganry, and now it's just everyone's stuck in line, unable to do anything. There's such a contrast between 2 laps after a restart and 5.
I think everybody wants to get this done and head to bed.
Yeah, it's 24 hours.
I was going to say, we were actually approaching to the point where the server might run out because there's actually 10 minutes left in the server time.
Yeah, we've been live for 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is very long for a race that was only supposed to be 140 laps.
So coming down to the closing stages, we could see another caution here with this top in the top 5 here. They're all running nose to tail. Who's desperate enough to try to make a move? Seth Noel, we see he's not afraid to move people out of the way. He's moved one car out of the way. He's got another car directly in front of him. Will he do anything here in these last few laps?
Well, if he has a close enough chance, why not? Since Val continues.
Oh, JT Poole on the curbs, almost spins it at a turn 4.
I just don't know what you're going to do if you move somebody out of the way. Where are you going to go? You're just going to go 10 feet in front of them and be stuck in the same spot. So it's going to be a challenge, I think, in these last couple laps here. Gordon Martin and Newbigging battling for 7th. I don't know if moving a guy, I mean, if you do it like the one did on the previous restart when you knocked the 33 completely out of contention, that's one thing. But just moving a guy up the racetrack, yeah, you'll gain 1 spot, but gaining ground to get another is going to be the most challenging piece.
And I think Weishart and Culberson almost made contact. Weishart was not happy with someone in particular on the last corner. Probably just happy in general from happening. Don't blame him.
Well, just like that, we got 2 laps left here. Jake Nichols still 9/10 above the 7 of James Scioli, who's got a bunch of hungry drivers right behind him, looking to get their best finish up of the season. And Aaron Smith, Seth Noel, and JT Poole.
Leo to the inside of Shiwu here into turns 3 and 4. But out of turn 4, white flag waves for the number 91 of Jake Nichols. 2 wins on the season, looking for a third.
And out there, pretty much smooth sailing. He's got no one directly behind him. He's got a second gap between himself and James Scioli. Scioli's still got Smith and Noel to deal with here approaching turn 3.
Yoneshiwu might lose the top 10 here.
For Jake Nichols, season started out with an 11th at Daytona, then it was 1st at Chicago, 1st at Sonoma, 4th at Iowa, and it will be a 1st here tonight at Gateway. Worldwide Technology Raceway, round 5 goes to Jake Nichols. Solar Flare Racing's number 91 goes to victory lane for the 3rd time in the season. As they battle the line, Culberson gets turned off the nose of the 37 and will grind along the wall to the finish.
Wow. What a chaotic race.
And
there we go, fireworks.
And
Chaotic is pulling him mildly.
2 came across the line, separated by just 0.08 of a second there. That was a really tight battle there at the end, but Jake Nichols gets it done. 3rd time on the season. And the 72 of Aaron Smith, we have to give him props. It was not looking good for him in the first half of this race, but he turned it around, all the strategy mostly right, and just needed some more time and a bigger differential. Oh, is this 33 searching for somebody? Oh,
he's going for the 1. He's going for the 1. And
pleasure being shown here. Can't blame him though, really.
Yeah, that was pretty mild. I was expecting a little bit more there.
Me too.
Well, it can't be much more, otherwise that's a penalty.
No penalty for Jake Nichols. There's a penalty to everybody else. They let him get away with another one, and 3 wins out of 5 races this season. Beckner, the only other one other than Scioli to get a victory this year. Quickly advancing in the point standings and turning into what we saw last season. Now the playoff format, make this challenge to run away with, but Jake's certainly in command. Have a look at our race results. Jake Nichols, Scioli, Aaron Smith, your top 3. Noel, 4th place in that number 1. JT Poole, good run for him. Tyler Nichols, Martin Newbeging rebounds for an 8th. Tom DeLeo, Ed Robertson grabs the top 10 there for him.
Yeah, quite a few names you didn't really expect to see in the top 10, but that's again just due to the attrition and how much the cautions, the way they fell. Back half is a lot of guys who weren't really running in the top 10 earlier on managed to poke their way in through. Newbeging, he went in and out of the top 10 earlier on, finally put himself in 8th place. Dominic Lee in 9th. Ed Robinson rounding out your top 10. Then going to the next page, Cousin Yoneshiwu. Garrett Grant, who we've seen around a few times, he put himself. He actually got an EOL, if I'm not mistaken, or a drive-through, one of the 2, and got himself back up into 12th. Cogswell, Weishart back in 14th. Saw at the end, not a happy man. I don't blame him because that car definitely had the shot at winning, not finishing back in 14th.
A quick look through the rest of the order here. See some drivers that had some bad results tonight. Got to skip through here one more time to get it to refresh all the way to the tail end of the field here. Benesac, Stafford, C, early drivers out, but that whole last page of out drivers, a challenging one. Let's talk to our 3rd place finisher, Aaron Smith, the pole sitter on the night. Fell back early, but rebounded very nicely, Aaron. Congratulations. P3 on the evening. Had to work hard for it, though. Played some strategy right. Bring it home 3rd. Take us through your evening.
Well, I got a pretty good qualifying lap in there. I'm not sure how I pulled that off, but it was about a 10th quicker. And I had the lead for about 10 seconds, and then I started falling back, and I didn't think I was ever going to see the leader again after that, to be honest with you. But yeah, I fell back to about 20th because I kept getting stuck on the inside on the restarts, and got involved in a couple incidents there in the back. Almost brought out a caution myself when I spun through the grass in the back straightaway, but fortunately I was able to get it back going and keep the damage off of it, and we brought it home P3 after a little bit of tire strategy there.
Yeah, had a 20 lap tire advantage, and it didn't seem like it did a whole lot for you. Passing seemed like a challenge tonight. How desperate was everyone on the restarts to grab some track position before it seemed like it got challenging a couple laps into the run?
Yeah, a couple of those runs into turn 1 were a little worrying. Saw a couple guys flying down there a little quicker than they should be, but if I was on the outside there, it was usually a pretty solid run out of the corner because I couldn't really get it to turn on the bottom to save my life. So I was certainly feeling pretty good when I was starting on the top there in those last couple restarts. was able to get right behind James there, racing for second. And, unfortunately, the aero push kind of messed me up there. He was running a really good line, and I couldn't really do much about it. I was just keeping Seth behind me there in fourth, so I'll certainly take P3.
Aaron Smith, P3 in the number 72 Chevy. Aaron, congratulations, and we'll see you next time.
All right, thank you.
Went on out to James Scioli, brings it home second place, about 1 second behind Jake Nichols. Didn't quite have it for the 91 tonight, James, but take us through your evening. Battled up front all night long with your teammates and otherwise. Looked like fun on those restarts, getting pretty scrappy, but challenging to pass after that, it seemed.
Yeah, it could just never get into a good rhythm. I mean, it's such a rhythm racetrack, and the first run was really good, and I thought that was signs of what was to come, and boy, could I have not been any more wrong. It just turned into a lot of cautions, and that always just makes it really hard to pass, especially trying to time restarts. It's so tough. The leader gets such a good advantage. So honestly, yeah, once we started getting all those cautions, it was just all about conservation, just trying to maintain track position and just stay up front, not give up any spots on those restarts. And then on that last run there, we're starting to feel the effects of the tires. Hadn't pit for a long time, so starting to feel the effects of the right front there with all them restarts. It just started plowing kind of tight. So happy I could bring home second. Sad that David got involved in that wreck there and took us out of a pretty good team points day.
Yeah, he fell back and finished 14th on the night, James, the second place. But congratulations, a strong run, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys, and just a big shout out to Buck Kicker, Chris Sports Cards, Daniels Candles, and Matco Tools, and also Elwood Designs. He always kills it on the paint scheme, so big thanks to him, and thanks to all the admins and you guys for sitting through whatever we want to call that. So I'm glad that one's over, and we'll get them next week.
All right, James, you should watch it back. We had some fun banter there with about 4 or 5 cautions left, so enjoy.
Will do.
We'll see you later.
Thanks, guys.
Jake Nichols brings home his 3rd win on the season, led a whole bunch of laps en route to a win. Didn't get the pole for this one, Jake, but led the vast majority of the laps, and some drivers played some tire strategy, but didn't end up mattering there at the end. Take us through your night and nailing those restarts.
Yeah, we had a lot of them, but Solar Flare Racing Toyota Camry was pretty good. I just focused specifically on being fast long run. I mean, you could say that I do that every week, but I feel like knowing how this race went last season, the long run pace around 30 or 40 laps into the run was amazing, and it was what won me the race last season. So I try to do the same. I kept a little better track position all race though, and that helps a lot if you don't lose it, because it is hard to pass with dirty air. So keeping out front, it worked. Thankfully, we had a lot of cautions, kind of evened out tires for everyone with heat cycles. I'm glad Tyler got track position when he did, because it was going to be harder and harder to make passes. So overall, a great points night for us, and smart race for us also to get 1st and 6th for Solar Flare Racing here.
Yeah, really strong night again, Jay. Congratulations, racking up the points and wins here early in the season, giving yourself that buffer like you had last time around. So congratulations. We'll see you next week to see if you can get a 4th.
All right, thank you, man.
All right, wrapping up the evening here, guys. Jake Nichols gets a 3rd win on the season. Lots of yellows there, but some good battles here and there. It was fun to watch at times, and at others it was a little slow progress there towards the end. But we got it done. Jake Nichols gets it done, Finian. But pretty interesting strategy calls. It just didn't quite pan out for those that tried it.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting to see, because I was really wondering, when was Jake Nichols, Kyle, you guys in the front, when were they planning on pitting? Turns out the answer was I wouldn't say they never were planning on pitting, but at some point they just figured the best thing is to stay out with seeing the string of cautions, and at the end of the day, ended up making the right call.
Hunter, we finished this one off after 140 laps. Not in overtime this time, but about 12 or 13 cautions to wrap up the evening. Your final thoughts here quickly on the Gateway Race, Race 5.
Well, I didn't know what to expect when I found out that it was a night race. Kind of expected more of the same if it was during the day, but it seemed like there was a full moon out there, and the victor, obviously, Jake Nichols, has won back-to-back in both races we've been here in the area, and quite chaotic it was.
It was a fun one to watch tonight. 140 laps next week, though. We head off to Atlanta. It's going to mix some things up here in the schedule. Then Darlington, Bristol, Charlotte, Hampshire, Pocono. The next race is on the schedule. That will take us clear into January, though. So finishing off November, Atlanta and Darlington on the 14th and the 28th. Thanks so much for watching here on Sim TV. Kyle Heyer, Hunter Sleppy, Finney DeCuna bringing you this one. We'll see you next time.